This guy has a legendary skill. His eyes go black and he can see everything. But let me tell you, his life before this was absolute trash. A week ago, it was a normal day. Then a chilling announcement hit the TV. In 2 months, the world would face starvation, and monsters hungrier than humans were coming. God was generous, humans awakened powers, but still, almost everyone died. 3 months after the world ended, and I'm stuck all alone. The only one alive in this entire building. The worst part, no internet. My name is Kim Jun. My boredom shattered the moment a monster appeared right at my window. It looked like something from hell, with the ugliest mouth ever. I almost died. Nearly crapped myself, but it couldn't get in. No hero moment here. Why? My ability, my house, my rules. I'm the ultimate shut-in. And yeah, this power saved me, but trust me, it comes with a huge catch. The major downside, I can't leave either, stuck here since day one. You think surviving is great, try no internet, no girlfriend, and absolutely no fun. The system message, the ultimate shut-in, can't leave, feels like a sick joke. I'm handsome, rich, and was already single. Now it's just 100 times worse. My food is running out, the fridge died, everything is going to rot soon. Was I going to die from being too safe? Then I saw it, my skill leveled up. That monster that crashed into my window and died must have given me EXP. Now its body is a buffet for the other monsters crawling on the street below. Then things got weird. The monster's corpse turned to smoke. A reward was sent. 2 million cash in my wallet, and you and I are about to see the lights turn on. Electricity and water are back. It's a miracle. I can shower and stop stinking. Is the internet back? Nope. Damn it. Why not the one thing I actually need? My place is a wreck. I found a random flash drive I didn't remember owning. Plugged it in, old family photos. There's my mom when I was born, so beautiful. Me at 5 smiling, at 12 with long hair, at 15 happier than ever. I wish they were here. I don't even know if they're alive anymore. I will find them no matter what. Out on the balcony, a new system window, level 1 shop. It looked super suspicious, but I tried using it. Said I had 2.3 million cash, like some kind of supermarket account. Then I tried to open the window. Still trapped, can't get out of the building, but then a thought hit me. I can level up by hunting monsters, all those creatures down there. If I kill them, I get stronger. Maybe if I level up enough, I can finally leave. But seeing those terrifying flying monsters, there's no way I could beat them. Then again, that one monster died just from hitting my window. Goblins are weaker. I decided to test it. I'll throw this water bottle. Let's see if it leaves. It worked. Items can leave, I can't. In that case, I've got a plan. I'll just throw something heavier and crush those goblins from right up here. I was ready to throw a dumbbell when the goblins started calling to each other. Oh no you don't, you little bastards. I have to see if this works. So I threw it. The dumbbell launched with all my strength, and it missed. My aim sucks. I've only got one left. Now what? No idea. Then I heard a new sound. The damn goblins started screaming. They grouped up and ran toward the building. It was terrifying, all of them moving as one, and believe me, it gets even crazier. As they swarmed the building, I feared the worst, but maybe this isn't so bad. If they get closer, they're just an easier target, and then an idea sparked. I opened the shop. All my points were there. I had it list the available items. And just like I thought, the dumbbell had been analyzed. The system listed it so I could buy more. The price, exactly the same as online. It's like my own personal shop. I ordered more dumbbells from the system, and they just materialized right in front of me, the cost deducted instantly. This is absolutely insane. The guys downstairs probably heard me screaming. I launched a dumbbell with all my might, and this time I got lucky. A perfect headshot on a goblin. The system confirms the kill. I gained experience, and 3,345 in cash hit my account. The others were terrified. They're wondering what the hell just fell from the sky. Dumbbells don't exactly rain down from above. I kept launching more, but now they were on high alert. I missed every single shot. So I just kept buying more dumbbells and trying again and again. Eventually, I started landing hits, and as a result, I was leveling up like crazy. This feeling is incredible. Then, another system notification popped up. Trust me, this next ability is a total game changer. I unlocked Storage Level 1, an alternate dimension for my items. To test it out, I tried putting a dumbbell inside. It just vanished from my hand, listed in my storage. It worked perfectly. I pulled it right back out into my hand. Unbelievable. I can store anything and pull it out whenever I want. So now, it's time to get a little cruel. I jammed the storage completely full with dozens of dumbbells. Then, I released them all right outside the building. A literal rain of dumbbells fell from the sky. The goblins had no chance to escape. They were crushed, every last one of them. I'm starting to get amazed by my own power. I never knew it could be used like this. I also found out I can analyze other things, like food, and buy them with my shop money. But that brings a new problem. My cash is limited. On top of that, the power bill is constantly draining my funds. And since I wiped out all the goblins, not a single monster has come near my building. No monsters means no money, no experience points. If nothing gets close enough to kill, I'm screwed. I need a new plan. As I was thinking, something massive appeared in the sky, and then it hit me. I remembered that thing from before, the creature that attacked me. This is bad. That's a calican. You and I both know a high-level monster means serious trouble. I ran to the kitchen, tied some shiny spoons to a chair, and hung it outside as a lure. It worked. The monster noticed and flew straight for the building, ready to strike with that disgusting mouth. But this time I wasn't afraid. My barrier was still up. It can't possibly break through. If it keeps trying, it'll just kill itself like the last one. More experience for me. But this one was smarter. It realized it couldn't get through and flew away. No way, but wait, it didn't actually leave. It landed on the roof. When I leaned out to look, holy crap, I nearly had a heart attack. It was pecking one spot, hard. But the barrier is absolute. Nothing gets in without the Supreme Shut-in's permission. That gave me a second. I pulled up the shop again. If dumbbells can kill goblins, what does it take to kill a monster this huge? As it kept pecking, an idea hit me. I spent my cash on bottles of cooking oil. Perfect. I poured the oil into pots and started heating it. If boiling oil can kill just about anything, well, we're about to find out. I wrapped paper around some sticks, dropped the boiling oil into my storage, and lit one of the sticks on fire. Okay, get ready for this. The ultimate trick is about to begin. The beast kept hammering the barrier. I yelled for the oil to drop from the sky. The storage opened right above it. Boiling oil poured straight down. The monster shrieked. I tossed the burning stick. The oil ignited. Flames erupted. Everywhere it worked. That beast is extra crispy now, crashing hard to the ground. Burning, smelling awful, looking worse. The moment it finally died, the system window appeared. Calicanon defeated, EXP gained, and a nice cash reward. Now I have 9,347,000. This Supreme Shut-in is officially loaded. But then everything changed. You and I are about to watch his world get way bigger. Not just his apartment, the whole building became his, and he got a new ability. At first it was agony. His vision glitched out. Then he saw the entire building, including the people below. A family in their living room, looking sad, hungry. What the hell? His eyes felt strange. Who are they? After a moment the vision faded, his eyes went back to normal. But now the system was showing him their info. A 30-year-old man, a woman also 30. 2 daughters, 3 and 6 years old, all eligible to become citizens of his territory. The system warned non-citizens will be expelled. If he does nothing, they get kicked out to the monsters. So what would you do in this situation? He granted them citizenship. Then he checked that new ability, just as he thought, Supreme Eyes Level 1. He can see everything in his territory. Nothing escapes him. And in the system, the population list popped up. Currently 4 citizens out of 600 slots available. 600, no way they'd fit in his apartment, not even the building. Then he saw something amazing. Citizens share their power and EXP. If they fight and level up, he gets a cut. Perfect. He'll get stronger faster. And now missions unlocked with time limits. Fail and there's a punishment. First up. Kill a goblin in 168 hours. Fail, the punishment is, well, let's just say it's emasculating. Which is basically a death sentence. Same thing, the system asked if he would accept. He hesitated. For now, he declined. Then he tested out Supreme Eyes again. The world went dark. He could see the family downstairs as the scene switched entirely to them. The little girl asked her dad what they were going to do. No food left. The kids were starving. The father felt crushed watching his daughters go hungry, but outside is hell. Going out could mean never coming back. Still, he had to try. He told his wife he'd go find food. She knew what that meant. If he stayed, they'd starve. If he left, maybe they'd all die anyway, but at least there was a chance. He got ready to leave. Said goodbye as if it was the last time. The kids cried, begging him not to go. As he reached for the door, the handle started turning by itself. They froze. Don't blink, because this moment changes everything. Monsters, the door creaked open. A burst of light flooded in. The dad grabbed a weapon, ready to fight for his life, but it wasn't a monster. He yelled for mercy, then saw our main character standing there. I'm here to help, he said, offering water and food. They must be starving. They all just stood there in total shock. How could someone show up to help? The father couldn't refuse. It was the only way to save his daughters. So he invited him in. After that, the scene shifts, and we see Cho Hung-jun's two kids hiding behind their dad, their suspicious eyes locked on Jae Hyun. The two kids don't trust this stranger at all. Meanwhile, Hung-jun, his wife, and their two children are all sitting together at the table. Jae Hyun starts peeling an orange, trying to break the tense atmosphere. He watches them in silence, wondering if his sudden appearance was too much of a shock. But as he looks around the room, he notices that it's completely empty. There's no food, no water, and no light. The curtains are shut tight, a desperate bid to not attract monsters. John sees it all. He agrees with himself, a good call, but now he's decided to help even more. John focuses his gaze on the ceiling light above. His eyes begin to glow an intense blue. And with just a blink, the room is flooded with light. The father is absolutely stunned, before he can even process it. John slides a water bottle across the table, telling the guy to give it to the kids first. The children gulp it down like they've spent months trekking through a desert. John watches them, a faint smile on his face. The youngest, Seo Hyun, is so thirsty she almost chokes on the water. Noticing this, John quickly offers her a bright orange. Seo Hyun hesitates for a second but takes it. A sweet citrus smell fills the air, making her mouth water instantly. She brings the orange to her mother, who carefully peels it and feeds her a piece. The moment Seo Hyun takes a bite, her eyes light up with pure delight. The orange is so sweet, so juicy, it practically melts in her mouth. Her happiness is undeniable. Seeing his sister enjoying it, Nahun, the brother, also asks their mom for a piece. She happily gives him one, and the sound of the children's laughter starts to fill the otherwise grim room. As John observes this, a system notification suddenly appears. The family's trust in him has jumped. And this is where it gets crazy. Seo Hyun's trust level hit 57, qualifying her as a vessel. John is completely shocked when he sees this message. He still doesn't quite understand what being a vessel means, but he knows one thing for sure. He refuses to make a 3-year-old child his vessel. He immediately starts thinking about how to get the father's trust up to 50, since it's currently stuck at only 31. John is deep in thought when the father's voice snaps him out of it, thanking him. He thanks John from the bottom of his heart, asking how he could ever repay this kindness. John calmly replies, suggesting they step outside to talk for a moment. The scene shifts, and we now see the two men standing alone in the hallway. John asks the father if he got a system notification about something called citizenship. The man nods his head. John presses him, asking if he noticed anything else that was strange. He explains that for a split second, everyone around them froze in place. Hearing this, a crucial realization hits John like a lightning bolt. if he hadn't granted citizenship to the man and his family right at that moment. They would have been forcibly teleported out of the building. This thought makes John's expression turn incredibly serious and focused. With absolute confidence, John looks the father in the eye. He says that if the man helps him, John will provide food, water, a safe place to sleep. And most importantly, protection. Their safety would be completely guaranteed. The father is shocked, asking him how any of that could even be possible. John doesn't answer. Instead, he says firmly that if he wants food and safety, he needs to trust John completely, no questions asked, and he promises to never ask him to do anything that would put his own life on the line. The man closes his eyes, thinking it over. For some reason, his gut tells him John isn't a bad person. Still, he asks what John wants in return, because nothing in this world comes for free. John calmly responds that he doesn't want anything in return. Just for the man to do one small favor for him, the father breathes a sigh of relief and even calls John his brother. John lets out a small smile, accepting the gesture of trust. Changing the subject, John asks how much that golf club the father was holding would cost. He figures it would probably be way too expensive to add to his own store. Shifting gears again, John tells him they can talk about the club later, then he asks when the next. The apocalypse began, and you and I are about to see how it started for this chubby guy on a weekend. A massive horde of goblins attacked. John puts the pieces together, remembering that fateful day. He was just chilling in his room, living his best life as a supreme recluse. He figures it out, anyone who stayed home was safe from that first deadly wave. Thinking about the goblins, he realizes his citizenship is the ultimate key to survival. John gives the chubby guy a direct order: find any survivors you can. Bring them back to this building. Then the scene cuts and we see John just lounging. Lying comfortably on his sofa, his eyes are glued to the system notification. He's watching the chubby guy's trust level slowly, but surely, start to rise. It hits 40, but John needs it to hit 50 and fast. Meanwhile, John's lost in thought, wondering when he can finally get past this barrier. He needs to find his family. He wonders if granting citizenship to others is the key. Suddenly, a piercingly loud voice shatters the silence. It startles him, and John knows that sound all too well. The groans of a zombie mixed with the screams of a human. He sprints to the window to look. His eyes go wide. Down below, a group of 6 or 7 people are fighting a goblin horde. He figures they're goners. The group is just too far away for his summoning ability to reach. But here's where it gets crazy. John starts to panic, thinking he can't help. But to his shock, a teenager hurls a baseball with incredible power. Boom, it instantly kills one of the goblins. Then, another kid in a purple tracksuit. He lets 2 arrows fly at once, taking down 2 more goblins in a single shot. And finally, a third teenager with a baseball bat smashes a goblin's head with 0 effort. The rest of the goblins, they turn tail and run for their lives. Suddenly, another loud noise startles the girl in the purple tracksuit. She looks down and finds a pack of ramen on the ground, wondering where it came from. Looking up, she spots a black shadow on the roof of the building. It's John trying to signal her to come inside, but as he watches, he hears a knock at his door. It's the chubby guy. John tells him to come in, but the system physically blocks him. A notification pops up. The chubby guy is not allowed to enter. Now let that sink in for a second. This confirms no one can enter his room. Even with his permission, John wonders if a vessel could enter, but pushes the thought away. For now, he leaves the room and tells the chubby guy to grab anything cheap that could be a weapon. After checking his house, John gets an idea. He immediately opens the Supreme Recluse's shop and summons 5 packs of ramen and 5 water bottles. In seconds, the items materialize right in front of the chubby guy. He's in total shock. This is the first time he's ever seen John's power up close. John calmly packs the items into a box and hands it over. He tells the chubby guy this is his next mission: deliver this box outside the building. The chubby guy's face fills with worry. he reminds John about all the goblins outside. But John just reassures him, saying he already took care of the nearby ones. The chubby guy is hesitant, but in the end, he trusts John's words. John then adds that in this new world, food is the most valuable thing. He explains his master plan: give this food to the hunters so they'll see him as their king. They'll follow him without question. He smiles, knowing he's using Lilith's slavery technique. You and I just found out his method. Anyone who receives his food and water becomes his. Watch how John plays this. The chubby guy trusts him completely and agrees. So John creates a new mission for the chubby guy in the system. He accepts excitedly, hyped for that sweet XP, then heads down the stairs. He's carrying the box. He's nervous, but he trusts John and grips a golf club. Finally, he steps outside, and bam, instant fear hits him hard. His mind screams one thing: drop the box and run, as the chubby guy now hold your breath. As he places the box, he hears footsteps and freezes. His body starts trembling, from the corner of his eye a black shadow, panic. It takes over as he pictures a bloodthirsty goblin, and he tries to scramble back inside. But he slips and the box tumbles away. Paralyzed with fear, he just lies there, face flushed, breathing hard. And those footsteps, they're getting louder. The poor guy starts begging for mercy, pleading with his imaginary goblins. Mustering the courage to finally open his eyes, he's shocked. There are no goblins. Instead, get this, standing before him is a group of teenagers looking just as surprised. The scene flips. Now the system is pinging John with a notification. It warns him that the group from outside is now trying to get into the building. John understands immediately and activates his skill, Supreme Recluse's omniscient eyes. Through it, he sees the teenagers gathered right at the front door. A girl in a purple tracksuit says this is the same apartment building where that weirdo was throwing ramen from. Another guy holding a bat comments that if someone is just tossing ramen around like that, they must be stacked with food. John deactivates his skill and tries to add them as citizens. But the system hits him with a warning. He can propose citizenship, but here's the catch: the teenagers can reject it. And that's a huge problem that could wreck his plans. He knows he has to figure out a way to make sure they accept. Right at that moment, he gets a call from the chubby guy through the camera system. An idea sparks. A brilliant one. He tells him to wait, then updates his mission. Serve food to the 6 guests. The chubby guy accepts instantly, and then he approaches the teens outside the barrier, telling them that if they just accept John's proposal, they'll get everything for free. Hearing that, they quickly agree. John opens the barrier and lets them all inside. Once they're in, the system notifies John his citizen count has increased by 10%. All XP and money his citizens earn will now increase by 10% too. This bonus is a game changer. John observes the teens, analyzing their profiles. The highest level one is Haeyoung, the same guy with the bat. His skill is baseball throw, a rank D that lets him hurl things with 10 times the force. John realizes that skill is insanely dangerous and concludes they are all metahumans. He sets their XP distribution rate to 70%, meaning the teens get 70 and John gets 30. Satisfied, he realizes that if he keeps recruiting citizens, they will become his personal automatic hunting team, letting him get stronger and richer passively. And you and I know this means John is playing Age of Empires now, not just surviving. He knows his next step is to build up their trust, but surprisingly, their trust level is already on the rise. John's confused but decides to just watch what happens. All right, let's check in with the chubby guy, who's just brought the whole crew of teenagers to his apartment. Hongjun's wife is confused seeing the group, but she hears her husband apologize, explaining that they all just need some food. She agrees to help. Meanwhile, Jihan watches this unfold through his Supreme Recluse's all-seeing eyes, completely satisfied with the progress. After a while, Dongjun asks the chubby guy what kind of person Jihan is. The man explains that he doesn't know a lot, just that he's a strange but kind neighbor. Thanks to Jihan, they now have power, water, and even food. Hearing this, Dongjun gets nervous. His gaze drifts over to the ramen packs Jihan gave them. And pay attention here, because Dongjun realizes Jihan isn't just helpful, he's a dangerously powerful metahuman. He silently decides to impress Jihan, no matter what it takes. His trust in him explodes, because it's always better not to anger the guy with all the power. Back inside, the chubby guy asks the two girls from Dongjun's group if they want to take a bath while the food is being prepared. The very moment he mentions a bath, their eyes light up. The simple thought of it is exhilarating. Dongjun is stunned too, realizing the shower must actually be working. The guy confirms it, saying there's even hot water, another part of Jihan's crazy abilities. At this point, Jihan is their personal electrician, plumber, and water supplier. One girl jokes that he must be the god of all their professions. While the group is talking, a teenager with glasses approaches Dongjun and asks if he thinks he's stronger than Jihan. Dongjun immediately says that based on Jihan's powers, it's totally impossible. But then of course, there's always one idiot in the group. Deoksu grabs Dongjun's shoulder and suggests they team up and jump Jihan, his reasoning. He thinks if they overpower him, Jihan will just hand over all his food. Dongjun is visibly annoyed, calling him a lunatic and warning him not to do anything stupid. The group agrees that the best move is to impress Jihan. The scene then shifts to a timid boy in their group named Bongho. Dongjun walks over to him and apologizes. If he hadn't invited him to that party hours before the apocalypse, Bongho might have saved his family. The boy says it wasn't his fault. But Dongjun promises that after they eat, they'll make a plan to rescue Bongho's grandma. However, the kid is still heartbroken. He thinks it's too late, that goblins have probably already eaten her. The atmosphere turns heavy when they sense someone approaching. Maybe it's a monster, and it is. But this monster's name is Jihan, and he enters carrying two massive black bags. At that moment, Dongjun understands that Jihan is the only one who can solve all their problems. And trust me, you're about to see his master plan unfold. Jihan looks at the group, his face deadly serious. Without any hesitation, he confidently states that he's going to help them. Soon after, everyone is seated, but the atmosphere is unbelievably tense. Hongjun's wife apologizes for their place being so small. But Dongjun comforts her, saying it's their fault for showing up unannounced. Just then, the chubby guy arrives with the hot food and starts serving everyone. The group of teens is completely stunned by the sight of the dishes. It's the first time in so long they've seen actual food, let alone clean, hot food. Hongjun's wife looks on, getting more and more worried. She's nervous, hoping her guests will like the food: rice, fried egg, and kimchi. And some warm water. The dish looked absolutely mouthwatering. The table was full. So many different dishes. One of the girls takes a small piece of egg for a taste, and the second. She bites down, her eyes go wide. Her mouth waters as she exclaims just how incredibly delicious the food is. Upon hearing this, you and I can see Hongjun's wife finally relax. Relieved, she smiles and says the credit for the meal really belongs to Giants. Amazing ingredients. Without them, the food wouldn't taste nearly as good since she didn't even have any food for herself. Suddenly, everyone goes silent, wondering, who the hell is this giant guy? At that exact moment, a system notification appears for Jae Hyun. It tells him that Hyunjun's wife's trust level has just reached 50. This makes Jae Hyun happy. Her trust is rising much faster than the chubby guy's. After that, everyone starts to really enjoy the meal together. Their faces just light up. It's like they haven't eaten such amazing food in a very long time. They're loving every single bite. One of the girls even says the egg rolls were incredible, easily good. Enough to be served in a restaurant, and trust me, in this apocalypse, a meal like this, it's basically a dish straight from heaven. Another curious girl asks the hosts' wife if they're the same type of egg rolls served in Japanese restaurants. Seeing Everyone's so happy, the chubby guy's wife is just as joyful, encouraging them to enjoy every last bite. But then, her younger daughter comes over to her with a sad face, saying she also wants one of those delicious egg rolls. The mother just rests a hand on her head, promising to make more just for her. Right after the guests leave, but the little girl still isn't satisfied and looks like she's about to cry. That's when one of the guests calls the child over and asks if she'd like to share her egg roll. The second she hears this, the little girl's face absolutely lights up, and she runs to sit right next to her. The girl is just filled with emotion at Seo Hyun's pure cuteness and joy, using her chopsticks to feed her a piece of the egg roll. After one taste, Seo Hyun is unbelievably happy. As they all eat, Jae Hyun notices the chubby guy and his wife are nearby, just watching everyone with these satisfied smiles. Seeing this, Jae Hyun invites them to join the table and eat with everyone else. The host and his wife are a little surprised at first, but they end up sitting down and joining the meal, finally enjoying the food together. But as everyone eats, John finds himself feeling a bit down. Watching everyone share this meal reminds him of how long it's been since he felt this kind of warmth. He thinks of his parents, just hoping that they're safe somewhere. And with that, dinner comes to an end. Seo Hyun runs to her mother, saying she's very sleepy. Her mom just picks her up and takes her right to bed. The older daughter follows right behind her, also going to sleep. And now it's time for a serious talk. John says they have to continue their discussion, turning to Dongjun and asking why he can't get to his grandma's house, even though it's so close. Dongjun gets a nervous look on his face and explains it's because of the goblins. Upon hearing the word goblins, John's face turns serious. Pay attention, this is the real problem. Dongjun explains further, saying that the apartment's underground parking lot is a perfect hiding spot for them, so the goblins have made it their base. He even says that he estimates the number of goblins down there is at least a few thousand, and if they can't defeat all of those goblins, they'll never be able to reach his grandma. And that's when it hits him. Jian freezes, thinking the Supreme Recluse's power only works up to the 30th floor. That's how the goblins got into the apartment building, through the underground parking lot, an area my barrier doesn't even cover. So that's why I haven't seen any. They were all in the basement, he realized. Just as Dong Jian kept talking, explaining how every apartment entrance was linked to that same underground lot. It's the reason they've been too scared to make a move. The tension in the room thickens. After a long pause, Jae-hun suggests that he remembers a few secondary roads, small side passages that act as shortcuts straight to the underground parking. Dong Jun nods his head, confirming that was their original escape plan. But here's the kicker, a monster far more terrifying than any goblin blocked their path. The mention of something worse than goblins sends a chill down Jian's spine. Fear and surprise flash across his face. Dong's expression turns grim, telling Jian it looked like some kind of wolf, or maybe a bear. He describes it as massive as a bear, but as savage as a bloodthirsty wolf. Dong Jian has a flashback, the beast tearing through a whole pack of goblins. He adds that the only reason they got away was because the creature was distracted, busy slaughtering the goblins, even eating them. Jian hears this, and his worry deepens. This is a whole new level of threat. Dongjun admits they couldn't get a clear look. It was like a shadow beast, hidden in the darkness of the parking garage. Jian states the obvious, they can't hide from this forever. Still shaken, Dong Jian says they've hit their limits. He explains that if it wasn't for that, they would have taken on the goblins themselves ages ago. Curious, Jian asks what exactly these limits are. Okay, I know what you're thinking, and it's bad. Ren, sitting nearby, answers for him. Their weapons are about to fall apart. They're down to using bows and throwing baseballs, and they're about to run out. But to Jian, this is nothing. He just tells them, I can solve this. Then he asks to see their bows and baseballs. They bring him the gear. Jian inspects them for a moment, then adds a baseball to his system inventory. Easy. But when he tries to register the bow, a system message pops up. He needs to pay a fee of over 1.5 million to list the high-quality compound bow. Without even blinking, Jian pays the fee and registers the bow. Just like that, unlimited arrows and baseballs get added to his store. Jian then asks if they can actually use the bows. A dead silence fills the room. But before anyone can answer, Jae-hun, with a deadly serious look, buys 5 complete bow and arrow kits. In a flash, brand new weapons materialize on the table. In a calm voice, Jae tells everyone that even if they're beginners, now is the time to learn. He starts handing out the bows, encouraging them to start practicing right away. At that very moment, Jian gets a system notification. A few of their trust levels had nudged up. Seeing this, he feels a surge of surprise and satisfaction. At the same time, a wave of hope washes over the entire group. For the first time, they believe that with Jian on their side, they might actually have a real shot at saving Bongho's grandma. And just like that, you and I watch their trust in Jian solidify, meaning their efficiency would totally skyrocket. Another guy added that with this, they wouldn't have to risk their lives just to get their arrows back. Hope and excitement filled the air. Then suddenly, Jihan's expression turned dead serious. Now listen up, before they push forward, they absolutely have to thin the goblin herd. Dongjian matched his serious tone, asking when the hunt would officially begin. Jihan replied that they would start the very next day. He promised them they would definitely save Bongho's grandma. The next day, Jihan tried to hype up the group. Hearing that promise, Bongho's face just lit up with pure happiness. Dongjian then asked the big question, how exactly were they going to do it? With a confident smirk, Jihan replied that they were going to use a bait strategy. He began to lay out his plan, but after hearing it, their faces said it all. You and I are both wondering if this crazy bait strategy is gonna work, right? Despite their worries, they clung to the hope that it would succeed. All of a sudden, a system window flashed in front of Jihan, informing him that Bongho had completed the mission. He'd earned a reward of 30,001. Jihan was momentarily startled by the notification because that reward money was deducted straight from his account. He realized that as long as he had the cash, he could level up his people. From this point on, unless it was an absolute emergency, he wasn't spending a dime. Before he could overthink it, another system window appeared, stating that Bongho's trust level had increased. It had now reached 50, and loyalty had been unlocked, which fulfilled all the requirements for him to be registered as a vassal. And okay, let's pause for a sec. A vassal, this changes everything. At that exact moment, something strange started happening to Bongho's body. Completely confused, Bongho had no idea what was going on or why he felt so weird. A new system window popped up, announcing the vassal registration was a success. As a reward, Jihan had earned the ability, Summon Vassal. This power lets Jihan summon his vassal to his home, but only 2 hours after the initial summoning. From this moment on, Bongho was officially Jihan's first vassal, earning the title of First Servant. Jihan also gained strength comparable to a gorilla, and that exact same ability was also given to Bongho. Another system notification explained that any experience and gold earned by Bongho while hunting would now be doubled. Furthermore, Jihan could now use the Supreme Recluse's Omniscient Eyes ability to summon his vassal 5 meters from home. All this information was a complete overload. At that instant, Jihan noticed a plus button on the system window and tapped it. A message appeared asking if he would like to spend 100,011 to increase his vassal's level. The ridiculously high price left Jihan in total shock. He sat down, holding his head. I mean, you can't blame him for thinking, is this some kind of gacha game? Seeing him like this, Bongho's wife asked Jihan if something was wrong. But Jihan shook his head and told her it was nothing. From now on, Jihan decided they would call the guy by his real name, Bongho. Then Jihan asked him how he was feeling. Bong Ho replied excitedly, saying he felt like he was overflowing with strength. He claimed he could probably punch a whole plane through the wall. He paused, then asked Jihan if he had done something to his body. Jihan just nodded and confirmed it. Bong Ho kept going, saying he felt like he'd become 10 years younger. And a mysterious stick with me here. An aura fills his body, and Jae-hun flashes a satisfied smile. He hands Bong Ho a bow, officially inviting him to join the mission. Bong Ho accepts, but it's clear he's nervous. His hands are visibly trembling. As he holds the weapon, Jae-hun, on the other hand, is already thinking about the grind. Citizens get 10% bonus EXP, while vassals get double. This means one thing. From now on, this kid is going to level up like an absolute beast, a gorilla. His progress will be insane. Out loud, he tells Bong Ho to kill as many monsters as possible. Bong Ho's still totally terrified, almost on the verge of tears from pure fear, but he agrees to the mission. Jae-hun is absolutely delighted with that. With a smile, he tells Bong Ho that he's counting on him now. The mission officially kicks off as the group begins to inspect the first floor of the apartment building. Moving cautiously, Daku tells Dongjun this might be a waste of time. Checking the first floor might be pointless since all the windows are broken and the whole area is in ruins. He's pretty sure there are no survivors left. But Dongjun isn't having it. He insists they have to check anyway. He reminds the group of their orders from Jae-hun. They are a rescue team. Their number one job is to save every single person they possibly can. He lays it out, rescue any survivors in the building, and escort them safely to the 30th floor. Dongjun pauses, addressing the entire group. He explains the core of the mission. They need to lure a massive swarm of goblins right into this building, and then wipe them all out. For that strategy to work, they need to find as many survivors as possible. He asks if everyone understands the plan. The team agrees confidently. That response boosts Dongjun's morale. Meanwhile, Deoksu gets his iron club ready. He's prepared to smash some monsters. Dongjun tells them to start with room 101. He warns everyone to stay sharp. You and I both know goblins could be anywhere. The group enters units 101 and 102, where a horrible smell hits them. Inside, it's a bloodbath. Stains are absolutely everywhere. It looks like someone was dragged across the floor before they were killed. What they find is a horrible scene. Bodies everywhere, windows smashed, blood on the walls. Some people were torn in half, and the women were unclothed, likely victims of the goblins. This horrific sight is too much for the women in the group. They throw up on the spot. The shocked group just stares at Dongjun. I know what you're thinking. He's shaken too, but he forces them to move forward. They complete the search of the first floor but find no survivors, leaving them crushed. Discouraged, Dongjun takes them to the second floor, but up there, it's no better. Just like the first floor, it's filled with bodies, bloodstains, and destruction. The sight rattles the team even more. Determined to keep going, they decide to check the third floor. Once they arrive, Dongjun starts knocking. He bangs on a door, shouting to see if anyone is still alive. The team waits, hoping. They start knocking on every single door, but find no one. Dongjun's morale begins to crumble. He feels it cracking with each passing second, but he pushes on to the fourth floor. The group heads up to the fourth floor. Dongjun tries one more time. He knocks on another door, again asking if anyone is inside. He is so close to giving up, desperately praying for a single survivor. Trust me, you'll want to see what happens next. To their surprise, someone answers. A man cracks open the door, cautiously asking if they are really a rescue team. Upon seeing a living person, Dongjun's face absolutely lights up. He assures the man that yes, they are here to rescue any survivors. The guy, exhausted but still suspicious, just asks for some water. They hand him a bottle and the man is stunned. He thought they were intruders who had come to hurt him or steal his resources. But Dongjun tries to calm his fears. Telling him they are genuinely there to help, he explains they're all residents of this same apartment building. They are here to find survivors, and he invites the man to join them. Still skeptical, the man slowly opens the door, revealing two more people inside. He apologizes for being so paranoid before introducing himself to the group. His name is Hong Jong-soo, and he agrees to go. Dongjun gets excited, shaking Yang-soo's hands and introducing himself right back. He then instructs two of his teammates to escort Jong-soo's family to the 30th floor and then return to continue the search. Now pay attention, because the mention of the 30th floor makes Jong-soo freak out. He yells that there's no way they are leaving this apartment building. Just then, Jong-soo's youngest son interrupts, telling his father someone would save them. The boy, surprisingly calm, speculates they must have a helicopter waiting for them. He's clearly been watching a few too many zombie apocalypse movies. Ren clarifies that it's not quite like that. But if they join them, they will get hot food and, even better, a bath. The moment he says bath, Yang-soo's daughter gets incredibly excited. She tells her father they should definitely go with the team and stop worrying so much. So despite his initial paranoia, Yanggu finally agrees to join them. And one by one, more survivors start to follow, joining their growing group. Right on cue, John receives a system notification that changes the game. His citizen count has hit 40. You and I both know this means a 90% boost to EXP and gold. The scene shifts, and we see John deciding to shelter the children and elderly in the chubby guy's house. The others, they'll have to make do in the hallways. Dongjian approaches John with an update. He informs him that they have only rescued 40 people so far. John asks if that's really all that's left in the entire building. Dongjian's reply is grim. Anyone who left their room was brutally murdered. He adds that they searched all the way to the 29th floor, but it seems most people never left. John is happy with their efforts, though his mind is already working on the next problem. The chubby guy's place is already getting crowded. Even so, he feels that this number should be enough for now. He activates his supreme recluse's omniscient eyes. Time to see what everyone is up to. He first spots Bongho lifting a chair. He sees the chubby guy and some others carrying a huge water gallon, working with the women. Finally, he sees Dongjun, busy with his own tasks. The preparations are almost complete. They were nearly finished with all the instructions that John had given them. With a slight smile, John tells Dongjian it's time. Trust me, they are now ready for Phase 2. The Goblin Hunt. Dongjian gathers everyone to explain the new mission. They are going to lure the goblins out from their hiding spots underground. He explains they'll start with basement level 1. The group is splitting up. 2 teams, 1 goal: lure the goblins on Bay 1 and completely eliminate them. Afterward, they will proceed to clear the goblins on B2. The guy with glasses asks nervously, what if? More goblins than they thought. What if they get trapped on the very first floor? And what about moving the bodies? Won't that leave them vulnerable? But before Donian can even answer, Ren steps up, bow in hand, looking totally confident. She declares she'll take out every single goblin, so none of that will happen. She looks at the guy with glasses and tells him, as his Nuna, she's got his back. She promises everyone will be safe. Don backs her up, saying that unlike last time, they're fully stocked on arrows, so they're more than ready. His confidence finally sways the worried team member, and he agrees to the plan, but then a noise. Instantly, everyone snaps to attention, spinning around with serious faces. 3 goblins are standing right there, and you gotta watch how fast this goes down. Ren doesn't hesitate for a second. Thwip, 2 arrows fly, hitting 2 goblins dead on. Dongjin moves in, smashing the last goblin's skull like a watermelon with his club. In a flash, all 3 of them are down. The guy with glasses then jokes, asking Danjun why he bothered bringing a bow if he was just gonna use a club. Didn't he say he needed it? Danjun just says using the club feels more natural. He does admit, though, that he feels a little stronger than he did before. Of course, he has no idea it's all thanks to Jay Hyan's upgraded club. But before the conversation can continue, a woman points toward the goblin bodies. In a weird twist, the bodies are starting to vanish. Jae-hun was collecting his loot. Seeing this, Byung-ho is stunned, wondering if this is yet another one of Jae's skills. Ignoring the commotion, Dongjun orders the team to keep moving toward B1. They follow his lead. As they go, Bungo's trust in Jun starts to solidify. He's actually starting to believe Jun might be the one who can save his grandma. Meanwhile, a system window pops up for Jun, confirming the group's trust in him is rising. Taking a sip of water, Jae-hun reads the message. He thinks to himself that even though it wasn't his plan, he's kind of become their guardian. Yeah, Jae-hun feels like a reliable big brother. Just then, another notification appears. Now this is where it gets really interesting. A new game mechanic just dropped. Bongho's trust level has hit 50, meeting the requirements to become a vassal. Jae-hun is shocked. He never expected Bongho's trust to grow that quickly. He figures Bongho must have put all his faith in him, saving his grandma. Recognizing this as a huge development, Jae-hun realizes something important. The more vassals he gets, the faster all of them will grow. He checks Bongho's stats. Loyalty 88, he's floored. That's a bond even stronger than a mother and son. Calming himself, John decides this is definitely good news. He confirms it. Bongho will become his vassal. He silently vows to do whatever it takes. He will save Bongho's grandma. The moment Jae-hun confirms, in the middle of a fight, Bongho's entire body starts to glow. Confused, he has no clue what's happening. The intense flash of light scares everyone, even the goblins. They start to back away. Dongjun, completely rattled, admits he's lost. He has no idea what's going on and orders a retreat. The goblins are totally blinded. Seeing their chance, the group makes a run for it. As they flee, Dongjian and Ren fire arrows back at the disoriented goblins. Their shots land perfectly, right between the eyes, dropping them instantly. With a deadly serious expression, Ren unleashes her ability, and you're not ready for this. All right, stick with me, because our heroes are getting absolutely swamped by goblins, with more appearing every second. Seeing the horde charging at them, Bongho starts to panic. Screaming that it looks like even the goblins from B2 have surged up to B1. This was never part of the plan. It seems the goblins can actually communicate telepathically. As the group sprints for the exit, they finally reach the gate. Dongjun tries to slam it shut, but some goblins already have their hands through the gap. The whole group rushes to help him, but their combined strength is barely enough. More goblins from the other side are ramming the gate with full force. There were just too many. And right as it was about to break wide open, everyone pushed with all their might, but it was no use. A single goblin, using nothing but raw power, was holding the door and forcing it open. More and more goblins began to squeeze through, making the situation desperate. Now watch this. At this critical moment, the chubby guy activates his gorilla strength ability to close the gate alone. Straining with every muscle in his body, the chubby guy roars to himself. He knew he had to stop them right there. He had to do it, no matter the cost. Dongjun quickly yells that everyone is safe now and encourages him to get back to them. The chubby guy tries to escape, but it's too late. The goblins shatter the gate, sending him crashing to the ground. He desperately tells Dongjun to leave without him, to just go. But Dongjun hesitates, frozen on the spot, not knowing what to do. Suddenly, Deoksu rushes in, smashing a goblin with his club and trying to drag his friend to safety. But a goblin grabs the chubby guy's leg, holding him down tight. At that moment, a goblin with pure hunger in its eyes stares them down. Its expression revealed a craving for what it saw as a juicy, fat piece of meat. But just as the goblins were about to pounce, the chubby guy vanished into thin air. Shocked, Deoksu just freezes in confusion, unable to process what the hell just happened. Before he can think, the rest of the goblins start charging toward him. One leaps to attack, but Deoksu sends it flying with another brutal swing of his club. He immediately breaks into a run, heading for his teammates while dodging the goblins' attacks. His teammates quickly give him cover, shooting arrows into the goblin ranks. This creates just enough of a gap for Deoxu to escape back to them safely. The group continues their retreat, trying to avoid being overwhelmed by the relentless goblin horde. In the dark, under the quiet moonlight, the entire building fell silent. But deep in the basement, a beast, a truly terrifying one, was devouring goblins one by one, tearing their bodies, crushing their bones, and chewing them up like candy. It eliminated every single goblin with ease, then turned its furious gaze toward the building above. Its only thought was to kill everyone inside, driven by a savage hunger. It needed more food to eat and evolve. Meanwhile, somewhere else, the chubby guy suddenly fell to the ground with a thud. He was absolutely sure he wasn't going to survive today. He was convinced the goblins were about to have him for dinner, but now he was just confused. He had no idea where in the world he was. Then, he sees Jihan standing right in front of him. With a calm voice, Jihan asks him how he's feeling. The chubby guy is shocked and on edge, but Jihan just gives him a friendly smile and helps him up. And here's the secret. Jihan was glad he'd made the chubby guy his vassal, which allowed him to summon him to safety. A perfect rescue. The chubby guy's leg, however, was still a wreck. It was bleeding heavily from a deep goblin scratch. He still couldn't understand a thing. All right, let's dive in. Before he can even react, Jaehan spots a nasty gash on the chubby guy's leg. The guy tries to brush it off, saying it's nothing and that it would heal on its own. But Jaehan could see he couldn't even move his leg. This was bad. Seriously bad. Jaehan tells him to stay put and runs back to his room. Arriving, Jaehan snags his first aid kit. He remembered how his mother had taught him how to handle first aid in emergencies. Jaehan had a basically infinite number of antiseptic pills and medical supplies. He practically had all kinds of medical resources at his fingertips. However, his supreme recluse inventory only had 40 slots, so he couldn't carry everything. He needed to be smart. After thinking for a moment, an idea sparks. He stuffs all the medicine in the first aid kit, then puts the entire kit in one inventory slot. Then it hits him if he stored a whole room full of medicine or a box of supplies. Could he duplicate them? You can almost see the wheels turning. This changes everything for him. After preparing, Jaehan heads back to the chubby guy. He takes out the first aid kit and asks the guy to show him his leg. He reluctantly reveals the wound, and blood is just gushing out. While cleaning the blood, Jaehan warns him that this situation is no joke. He explains that if the wound gets infected, the guy could actually lose his leg. While Jaehan treats the wound, the chubby guy can only wince in pain. Suddenly, a system notification appears. His trust in Jaehan has increased drastically. Finally, Jaehan finishes treating the wound. He instructs the guy to go to his room and rest up. Still in pain but incredibly grateful, he obeys. Afterwards, Jaehan closes his eyes and activates his Supreme Recluse's omniscient eyes. He sees Ren down in the basement, tirelessly killing goblins with her bow. She moves with deadly precision, taking out goblin after goblin. The hunt had officially begun. Daku is just smashing all the goblins with his club like an absolute madman. They are taking turns wiping out goblins and then running back upstairs. A little earlier, when the chubby guy suddenly vanished, Deoxu had sprinted up those stairs. From behind, the rest of the group was firing arrows like their lives depended on it. Suddenly, two goblins appear right in front of Daku. They look ready to tear him to pieces. Don't blink, because what happens next is wild. Out of nowhere, Bongho goes nuts, swinging his club with the energy of a kid on a sugar rush. And in a single massive blow, he smashes the heads of both goblins. He doesn't stop there. He jumps forward, lands in front of Deoxu, and begins to obliterate the goblins. It's like the power of 10 angry elephants is running through his veins. Everyone is just standing there stunned, thinking, when did Bongho get this strong? Well, thanks to becoming Jaehan's vassal, the guy is basically on a major power trip. Jaehan watches the beautiful chaos unfold and feels a wave of relief. Everyone seems safe for the moment. He takes a second to check Bongho's status. Bongho is now level 30, his trust is 55, and his loyalty is 88. His awakened skill is teleportation. Trust me, you and I both know that's a total game changer. The guy can teleport to any spot his eyes can see, and not just himself. He can take others along with him, too. Jahan smiles like a proud father, thinking making Bongho a vassal was the best decision ever. All right, stick with me, we're jumping right into the chaos as they mow down goblins. And Daku turns to John, the guy with the glasses, who looks like he's about to pass out. He asks if John can even continue. John gives a determined nod. The group braces for the next wave. Daku asks Ren if the water tank is ready. He gets a yes, and right then, Bongho bolts up the stairs, luring an entire army of goblins right behind him. Bongho clears the top step, and the second he's safe, the team unleashes the huge water tank right on top of the goblins. They get completely soaked, but it's not enough to stop them. Now pay attention, this is where their real plan kicks in. Dongjian grabs an extension cord and jams it into the outlet. Hidden wires along the staircase ignite, and electricity crackles straight through the water. The low-tier goblins, those level 6s and 7s, get fried instantly. But the level 10 goblins, those absolute monsters, are still standing. The system dings for Jun. He just scored a massive pile of experience and a cool 34 Val for 641. Deposited right into his supreme wallet. John cracks a smile. He just leveled up, and his skills got even more broken. Okay, and I know what you're thinking, but this is where it gets weird. John suddenly feels a sharp pain in his body. His heart starts hammering like he just sprinted a marathon. His entire body feels like it's on fire. Suddenly, a purple shield erupts and forms around him. The shield expands, blasting through the building and down into the basement. Every high-level goblin caught in its path just freezes in place. The system then notifies John that a hostile presence was detected inside his new shield. John just grins. Now it's time to show these little punks who's really in charge. With one simple command, the goblins trapped inside the shield just pop like balloons. Blood sprays everywhere, painting the walls like a horror film. Hundreds of goblins are wiped out instantly. On another floor, a whole new squad of goblins is gathering, about to march straight into the building with no idea what's waiting for them. Suddenly, a fat goblin feels something right behind him. He turns around and sees a colossal beast just standing there. Before the goblin can even blink, the beast lunges, sinking its fangs into his body, killing him instantly and just devouring the flesh like a quick snack. Watching this bloody spectacle, the other goblins are absolutely terrified. But before they can run, the beast charges forward, cutting through the crowd like a demonic lawnmower, tearing goblins to pieces with its claws. Some of the dumber goblins try to attack it from behind. They manage to land a couple of weak hits, but the beast couldn't care less, swatting them aside like they're nothing. Some goblins, full of more guts than brains, actually climb onto the beast. Biting and tearing at its flesh, the beast lets out a roar of pure rage as they chew on its face and rip into its body. The pain is obvious, but the beast tanks it, with an earth-shaking roar. The beast grabs every single goblin latched onto it and rips them to shreds. Pieces of goblins go flying, blood splattering everywhere. It's a total nightmare. The beast stomps on the remaining bodies, crushing them into a disgusting bloody pulp. Complete annihilation, but then, out of absolutely nowhere, a system window appears, stating the beast has been granted citizenship, and then suddenly the beast starts to shrink. Its huge bloody form is drained of energy as it begins to transform. In just a few moments, the beast is gone, and in its place, you and I are now staring at a stunning woman. Naked as the day she was born, but covered in blood, she faints and collapses to the floor. Jaihyun watches this unfold through his all-seeing supreme recluse eye, and he is absolutely stunned. He mutters, "What was that?" A system window appears, and it's dropping bombshells. The girl's name is Oh Yanju, and her skill is called Dress Up Bear. Now trust me, this is where it gets absolutely wild. The skill lets the user transform into a full-on monster, maximizing all physical and regeneration abilities. Jae-hyun is impressed. This girl is level 33 with a rank A skill. And the notifications just keep coming. Dongjun and Hae-ren's trust hits 50, unlocking loyalty. And Deoksu, his loyalty just surpassed 30, fulfilling the requirements to become a vassal. Jae-hyun smiles and tells the system to register Deoksu. And just like that, another vassal is on the team. Deoksu gains the Iron Knight skill. And a system notification explains that Iron Knight allows the user to summon a halberd and a full suit of iron armor. Jae-hyun just figured out something crucial. The higher the vassal's levels, the stronger their awakened abilities become. He starts to think about his vassals, one by one. The chubby guy, strong as a gorilla, has a rank C skill and is level 20. Deoksu, who has the rank B Iron Knight skill, is level 25. And Baeonho, with his rank a teleportation skill, is at level 30. Jae-hyun thinks deeper. Okay, pay close attention here, because our main character is trying to crack the system's code. It seems their levels are decided based on the rank of their awakened abilities, but a question is bothering him. Are the skill ranks chosen randomly? He wonders if Baeonho earned a rank A skill because of his loyalty. Then why did the chubby guy, with even higher loyalty, only get a rank C skill? After all, Deoksu got a rank B skill with a loyalty value of just 31. Confused, he keeps thinking. He needs to understand the factors that determine who gets a higher rank ability. This information is vital, especially since he can only register 10 vassals. He has to pick someone with the potential to earn the best abilities. And then a thought hits him, one that you and I know could change everything. What would happen if he registered a metahuman as a vassal? The risk is a problem. His thoughts get cut off by a system notification. The metahuman can now move freely between the stairs, elevators, and hallways. After considering this, Jae-hyun heads for the elevator and uses his Supreme Recluse's omniscient eyes to observe the girl. She's still lying unconscious on the floor. Jae-hyun calls the chubby guy, who arrives quickly as the elevator doors open. Jae-hyun instructs him, explaining that on basement level 2, he's going to find a girl. And he wants the chubby guy to bring her up here. Meanwhile, his teammates are tying up the defeated goblins with ropes, trying to figure out the chaos. It seemed like all the goblins were scared and running away from something. Dongjin is particularly shocked. Realizing he completely underestimated the pure power of the ability they had just witnessed. He is shocked seeing how Jae-hyun, with a simple snap of his fingers, popped all the goblins like it was nothing. Dongjin remembers past moments, like when the chubby guy talked about Jae-hyun's divine abilities and even mentioned things like hot water. He starts putting the pieces together. He realizes this must also be one of Jae-hyun's abilities. He remembers that the chubby guy's wife once mentioned that the ingredients for their food were all provided by Jae-hyun. Lost in thought, Dongjin finally concludes all of this is connected to Jae-hyun's abilities. Dongjin wonders why someone so powerful, someone who doesn't need anyone, still chooses to help everyone in this world. His trust in Jae-hyun skyrockets. Then he thinks about Byung-ho, and you and I both know the guy was always an introvert, but after meeting Jae-hyun, he completely changed. He was acting like a total psycho killer for a moment. While gathering the wires, the only thought repeating in his head was, Jae-hyun is frighteningly strong. His abilities are something to be feared. On the other side of things, our chubby guy is sprinting to basement level 2 to go rescue that woman. As Dongjin keeps thinking, he realizes how insanely lucky they all are that Jae-hyun is on their side. Meanwhile, Jae-hyun, with his Supreme Recluse's omniscient eye, is watching everything unfold, staying sharp, calculating his next move. After that, we cut to a flashback. Now, pay close attention, because this moment explains everything. A very cute kid is playing with his toy car, then turns around, beaming, asking his mom to play. And there she is, the same woman who turned from a beast back into a human. She's playing with her son, so loving and caring, as the little boy waves his hand happily. But this perfect moment is about to be shattered. The color instantly drains from her face as she sees something absolutely terrifying. She's horrified, she screams, but her son, still smiling and calling for her, doesn't see the danger right behind him. 3 bloodthirsty goblins, drooling, ready to devour him alive. A mother's powerful instinct to protect her child kicks in. She runs as fast as she can, but she's just too late. The goblins, with their bottomless hunger, aren't about to let this perfect meal get away. In a heartbeat, they tear the child to pieces and devour him right before her eyes. You and I just witnessed her son's brutal murder, a sight that destroyed her from the inside out. This horrible nightmare jolts her awake with a start. The woman Yeonju wakes up absolutely terrified and soaked in sweat. She screams, sitting bolt upright on the bed. Nearby is Jae-hyun, who greets her with a chilling calm. He just looks at her for a moment and asks how she's feeling. Yeonju, still totally disoriented, holds her head, just trying to process where she is. Meanwhile, Jae-hyun extends his hand and introduces himself, saying he's happy to finally meet her. However, Yeonju remains suspicious of him and asks a single question: was it you before? Jae-hyun looks confused, having no idea what she's talking about, but she insists, asking if he was the one who made the goblins' heads fly off like balloons. It turns out that while Yeonju was unconscious, Jae-hyun had used his domain expansion to kill the goblins, making their heads pop instantly. As Jae-hyun tries to offer his hand again, Yeonju pulls back, her voice trembling. She realizes it was him. He was the one who killed all those goblins. This discovery only makes her more wary and suspicious. Her fear of Jae-hyun grows because his immense power is undeniably terrifying. He can wipe out an entire horde of goblins in a split second, like crushing ants. And then Yeonju's thoughts turn dark. She starts to wonder if she was as strong as him, maybe. Maybe she could have saved her son. Overwhelmed by grief, she starts to tremble and cry all over again. She curses her own power, lamenting that it woke up too late. If it had just awakened earlier, her son might still be alive. Through the tears, Yeonju calls out to Jae-hyun, her voice trembling. Looking completely broken, model, all right, you and I are about to witness a scene that is just heartbreaking. In a desperate, broken voice, she asks John if he can save her son. Deep down, she knows. She knows he's gone, but she begs John for revenge, to kill every last goblin. All the goblins in the world, and in that moment, another goblin slayer is born. Yeonju collapses on the bed, her body trembling with sobs. John just stands there silently. He observes the overwhelming wave of sadness. The whole room is filled with the sound. The sound of her uncontrollable crying. John thinks about the tragedy she's facing. As a recluse, he is terrible at interacting with people. He genuinely has no clue how to comfort this grieving mother. As Yeonju cries, a system notification suddenly pops up for John. It says that Yeonju's trust in him has just increased dramatically, but Yeonju keeps crying. She tells John just how much she misses her little boy. Seeing her pain, John is helpless. He knew the goblins had eaten her child. He wondered if there was anything he could do. And here's where John gets a crazy idea. What if he could give her a mission? A mission with a reward that could revive her son. He knows it's impossible, but he decides he has to try, so John creates a special mission just for Yeonju. If she kills 1,000 goblins, the reward will be the revival of her son. John felt it was better than doing nothing. He prayed that this would actually work. He knew you couldn't bring back the dead, but in a world this messed up, anything felt possible. However, the second John applies the mission to Yeonju, the system hits him with a massive shock. It notifies him that he lacks the funds. He doesn't have the funds to provide a resurrection reward. That discovery hits him hard. Let's pause here because this changes everything. If he gets enough funds, he could revive anyone. His entire body starts to tremble. This is a game changer. In that moment, John realizes the true potential of his role. He wasn't just using the system, he was the system. He could become a god in this world, but John knew he needed Way more money to make that a reality. The problem, the system isn't telling him exactly how much money is required, but despite that, John refuses to give up. Yanju is still crying, so John calls out to her. He tells her there might be a way. A way to revive her son. Hearing this, Yanju is completely stunned, frozen in place. It felt like a bullet had hit her, a mix of surprise and pain all at once. But she suspects it could be a cruel joke. She warns him, if this is a prank, stop it now or I will never forgive you. But John reassures her, saying that there is a way, but it's going to be extremely difficult. Hearing that confirmation, Yanju becomes desperate. She tells John she's willing to do anything he asks, even offering to warm his bed or become his slave. John immediately cuts her off. He tells her none of that is necessary. She just needs to do one thing for him. He'll explain later. After that, the scene changes, and John introduces Yanju to Dongjian. Dongjian offers a warm greeting and a firm handshake. Yanju introduces herself too, but she stays completely serious. She asks Dongjian a single question. Was he the one killing goblins with a baseball bat, and was Ren the girl who uses a bow to kill them? Hearing such a perfect description, both Dongjian and Ren are shocked. They're completely baffled. Who is this woman and how does she know these things? Ren asks Yanju if they've met before, and trust me, Yanju's next move is hilarious. She tries to lighten the mood, making her hand into a little bear paw and acting cute. She says they must have met before, playfully asking if they really don't recognize her. All right, you're about to see 3 very confused faces as this woman starts talking. Yanju just smiles confidently, deciding to activate her beast transformation. Little by little, fur begins to sprout all over her body. A deep, threatening aura explodes from her as her entire body is covered in thick fur. The second the transformation completes, Ren recognizes her instantly. He's about to scream. Yanju now stands almost 3 meters tall, a terrifying, deadly beast. She's ready to attack anyone who dares get in her path. And that's when it hits them. Watch their faces, because she's the beast from the basement. The same one who was slaughtering goblins like it was nothing. Seeing their shock, Yanju just laughs. She's clearly enjoying this, putting a hand to her face as she corrects them. To be precise, she says, she's actually a bear, not a beast, and she's not their enemy. In fact, she explains she'd been helping them all along, killing goblins in the basement. They just never noticed. Instead, they assumed she was another monster. One that wanted to kill them, too. Finally, the truth starts to sink in for Dioku and Dongjian. Yanju is telling the truth. The beast never once tried to attack them. She was busy killing the goblins that were about to end their lives. Dongjian approaches Yanju, overjoyed, saying their encounter in the basement was no coincidence. Yanju agrees and declares that her sworn enemy is the goblin race. She swears to exterminate every last goblin that exists in this world. The enemies of goblins are her friends, marking the birth of a brand new goblin slayer. While the conversation continues, John walks up from behind them. He expresses his happiness that everyone has been properly introduced. But his expression turns serious as he announces something important. He tells them there's no more time to waste. By tomorrow morning, they need to begin the plan to rescue Bungo's grandma. Now that the goblin numbers have been drastically reduced, this is the perfect time to attack. But John then breaks some bad news. Pay attention, because this changes the entire plan. He won't be able to join the battle because of his fatal injury. Instead, Yanju will go with them. Upon hearing herself called a goblin hunter, Yanju is absolutely thrilled. John gives his final command to everyone: get some rest. He reminds them the mission will start the moment they wake up. As the group disperses, John calls Daku and Byung-ho to the side. The scene changes as John takes them to a small, private room. He asks them, "Do you know why I brought you here?" But the two look completely confused. With a serious face, John asks if they know why he called them. Daku has no idea. But Banho has a suspicion. He takes a chance, asking if this is about their abilities. John cracks a wicked smile and says that Bianho is exactly right. Both he and Bianho have unlocked their awakened abilities. The two are absolutely shocked to hear this. John tells Bungo his ability is called teleportation. The moment he hears the word teleportation, Bianho breaks out in a huge smile. John then informs Daku that his awakened ability is called Iron Knight. Daku is completely confused. What in the world does Iron Knight even mean? Will he be able to summon a knight? John gets serious again, deciding he needs to train them. Both of them need to master their newfound abilities to complete the tasks ahead. So John pulls up his system and creates a new quest, and trust me, their real training starts now. It's time to unlock their awakened abilities for the very first time. The clock is ticking, they've got 1 hour. The reward is a power boost. And the punishment, both of them have to sleep outside tonight. Jun is about to start the mission. Just then, a super-hyped Deoxu asks if he's about to unlock his awakened ability. Will he finally get to use his powers, just like Dong Jian? Jun gives a simple nod. Hearing that, Deoxu gets even more excited. He starts jumping around like a kid, shouting he can't wait to use the Iron Knight ability. I mean, who wouldn't be? Iron Knight sounds absolutely epic. Jun explains that Deoxu will be able to summon iron armor and a hellish halberd. But as Deoxu listens, ready to ask a question, something happens. In the blink of an eye, Bianho disappears with a flash of light. Seeing this, Deoxu is completely stunned and freezes on the spot. For a second, both Jun and Deoxu stand there in total silence. Then just as suddenly, Bianho teleports back into view a short distance away. Bianho himself is shocked, but also incredibly happy. He can't believe it, he just thought about teleporting a little farther, and it happened. He clenches his fists, realizing that with this power, he can definitely save his grandma. And you better believe it, Daku immediately notifies Jun that Bianho's trust in him has shot up. The very next moment, Bianho bows his head deeply in gratitude. He thanks Jun from the bottom of his heart and promises to believe in him from this day forward. Whatever Jun says, he'll do it, no questions asked. Because of Jun, he'll finally be able to save his grandmother. But Jun tells him not to get too excited just yet, because getting to his grandma is still a huge challenge. Now pay attention here, because this is where reality sets in. Hearing this, Bianho's face falls. He has teleportation now, right? So he should be able to just warp directly to his grandma's house. But Jun points out there's no guarantee he can even control the ability yet. Right now, Bianho has no idea how far he can teleport or for how long. The first step is to completely master his teleportation skill. Because the last thing he wants is to get stuck midway on a teleport. Or worse, fall unconscious right into a pack of goblins. That would be game over. Bianho is a bit disappointed, but he gets it. Everything Jun is saying makes perfect sense. He has to wait a little longer. But while the two of them are talking, a brilliant flash of light erupts from behind them. The sudden power surge startles both Bianho and Jun. And the next moment, as they spin around, we see what caused it. A colossal figure stands there, holding a massive iron axe that looks incredibly dangerous. And trust me, this is none other than our boy Deoxu. He's awakened his Iron Knight. Deoxu's body is covered in thick, powerful, enchanted iron armor from head to toe. He's holding a gigantic iron axe to complete the look. Seeing this incredibly cool armor and weapon, Deoxu's trust in Jun goes through the roof. The system confirms it. Deoxu's trust and loyalty have skyrocketed, and he's dancing with joy. Meanwhile, Jun turns back to Bianho, telling him to teleport to the building next door. This is his first official mission. If he can teleport there cleanly, it's a good sign. Bianho turns his gaze to the target building, ready to try. He stares at the building next door, steels himself, and decides to teleport there. You and I are about to see if he can pull it off. On the other side, Jihun creates a new mission for Bianho, writing out the details. He has to teleport to the next building within 3 minutes. The reward will be a nice boost to his teleportation proficiency. Byeonho concentrates hard while Deoksu stands behind him, cheering him on. With a dead serious face, Byeonho pictures the rooftop next door. And in a flash, he disappears from his spot, the very next moment. He successfully reappears inside the neighboring building. Byeonho waves at Jihan through the window, and Jihan is all smiles. He's thrilled to see Byeonho has already mastered long-distance teleportation. Byeonho is celebrating, waving happily from the other building. But then darkness, Byeonho's vision fades and he suddenly drops. Unconscious, he collapses right there on the floor. Now, what just happened here? Seeing this, Deoksu and Jihan are totally freaked out. What happened to him? Jihan doesn't hesitate for a second. He uses his summon ability on Byeonho. He brings him back instantly and lets him rest. Jihan quickly checks Byeonho's system and sees his health is perfectly fine. He realizes Byeonho either completely ran out of mana or his limit is still short range. If Byeonho teleports any further, he burns through all his energy. He'll just pass out every time. Jihan explains all this to Deoksu. Byeonho is completely fine. After a little rest, he'll be back on his feet. After that, Jihan turns to Deoksu and asks him if he likes to exercise. Deoksu is confused. Why is he suddenly asking about working out? And in the next moment, Jihan hands Deoksu the One Punch Man workout schedule. A new mission pops up just for him: 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-meter run. The catch: he has 10 minutes. The reward is a strength boost. Punishment is sleeping outside. And Deoksu has to do all of it while wearing his heavy armor. But he doesn't waste a second. He immediately gets to work on the push-ups and squats. Even with the armor on, Deoksu manages to complete all the reps, but he's exhausted. He's panting hard. Jihan watches from behind, impressed. Deoksu completed that task with surprising ease. Jihan figures it's because Deoksu is a natural athlete with great endurance. As he's thinking this, the system pings with a new notification for Jihan. The evaluation process has started. Jihan has no idea what that means. Is this a new type of notification? He's never seen one for an evaluation before. While he's mulling it over, Deoksu asks if there's any other task for him. Jihan says no, that's all for today, telling Deoksu he can go. Deoksu thanks him and says he'll be leaving at that exact moment. The system notifies Jihan that the evaluation is now complete. Since Deoksu's strength increased from the task, Jihan's strength also increases. And trust me, this notification changes absolutely everything. Jihan is in shock. He can literally feel his body becoming stronger than before. This was a revolutionary discovery. It means whenever his vassals get stronger, Jihan will get stronger too. The entire game just flipped on its head. After that, the scene changes. It's nighttime. Byeonho and his entire group are together. All right, you and I are jumping straight into the chaos as goblins swarm them. Daku quickly summons his Iron Knight, and like a true hero, it stands firm against the entire goblin horde. One by one, it starts carving through them, but Daku can't hold them all back alone. He's just one man against a tidal wave of monsters. Some goblins slip right past him and make a break straight for Bongho, but surprise, Bongho is already waiting, his bow drawn. With a flurry of arrows, he picks off every single one that got through. He stands ready to take down the rest of the mob. Seeing Bongho's skill, the remaining goblins completely panic and start to flee. But then a massive shadow falls over them, stopping them dead in their tracks. The moment they see it, the goblins are so terrified they actually start crying. And for good reason. Because that huge shadow belongs to a giant bear mummy. Before the goblins can even let out a scream, the monster slices them clean in two. While Bongho and his crew finish off the stragglers. Then, his party members shout to him, telling him that they've got this handled and that he needs to go. He has to get to his grandma and save her now. Bongho leaves his team and rushes off to save his grandmother. Now, while all this chaos is happening, You're not going to believe what our main character, Jae-hun, is doing. He's at home eating ramen. A notification pops up telling him his citizens have completed their mission. Because of that, he's received 132,961 sat. Jae-hun is stunned. This is the first time his citizens have actually earned him money by finishing a quest. He recalls that when Daku completed his mission, Jae-hun's own power level increased. But when other citizens finish a quest, he just gets cash. So it seems that the rewards are completely random. Then slowly but surely, more system notifications start flooding in as other citizens also complete their missions. Byeonjo has finished his as well, and the system is now evaluating all of the rewards. Finally, after a moment, the calculations are done. Trust me, you're going to want to see this. The system notifies him he's hit the jackpot. The moment he sees the reward, the ramen gets stuck in his throat. Jae-hun is speechless, his mouth hanging wide open. The reward, a new feature called skill points. He raises an eyebrow, completely floored. For real, now he's earning skill points. At this rate, nothing could possibly surprise him anymore. Not even if the system suddenly announced it was pregnant tomorrow. The scene then shifts, and we see Bongho finally teleporting right outside his house. His face is deadly serious, but you can see the nerves as he stares at the building. Slowly walking towards the door, his mind absolutely racing with a million thoughts. He's just desperately praying his grandma is okay. The next moment, mustering every bit of courage he has, he sprints inside, shouting his grandma's name. But even in this total panic, he doesn't forget to take off his shoes. You and I both know this guy is top tier. Anyway, as soon as he reaches the room, his eyes go wide. His grandma is alive. But she's lying unconscious on the floor, looking incredibly fragile. Pure panic floods Bongho as he rushes to her side. Luckily, hearing his desperate voice, his grandma slowly opens her eyes. With a weak, trembling voice, she reaches for his hand, recognizing him instantly. It's a moment that hits Bongho right in the soul. Tears just start pouring from his eyes like a waterfall. All right, stick with me because this scene right here, it's a pure emotional gut punch. He was holding his only family, hugging her tight as he sobbed his heart out. He was just completely overwhelmed with happiness. Mentally, he thanked Jae-hun over and over again, basically putting him on a godlike pedestal. For Bongho, Jae-hun had officially become the supreme god of this apocalypse. Meanwhile, the scene snaps back to Jae-hun, staring at a system notification. The system cheerfully announces that Byeonho's trust has officially hit 100%. Now Byeonho would literally kill for him or do anything else he asked. Because of this, another vassal slot for regeneration has been unlocked. Now Jun has 11 total vassal slots, plus a brand new system ability. He can now level up his vassals directly, like game characters. I know, right? Absolute game changer. Jun was in complete shock. You can just level people up like this. He cautiously tries to level up Byeonho, but the system hits him with a cold alert. He didn't have enough money. He needed 100 million won, which is about $70,000. Jae-hun was totally stunned by this absurd, ridiculously high price tag. He starts furiously slamming his hand, yelling at the system that it was insane. Honestly, this system was greedier than some clout-chasing influencer. But just then, Jun hears a strange noise. His senses picked it up. The sound of the elevator. He immediately activates his supreme recluse's omniscient eyes. He detects two people, a chubby guy and a young woman. They're standing ominously right outside the chubby guy's apartment door. And let me tell you, both of them looked incredibly suspicious. Quick reminder, Jae-hun's domain had expanded, letting people inside move around freely. So back to the action. The chubby guy's wife, Haewon, hears the doorbell. She opens the door and is surprised to see the suspicious-looking woman. The woman greets her warmly, introducing herself as Davin and her brother as Minyu. They explain that they live in apartment 1701. Clearly confused and suspicious, Haewon carefully asks what brought them here. In a shaky voice, Davin shamelessly confesses they came to ask for help. She nervously explains that she just wants to take a bath. After all that tension, Haywin was just dumbfounded, thinking, what, a bath? Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Still a little thrown off, Haywin invites them in, assuring her it's an easy request to grant. As the two siblings enter, Minyu, still with that serious look on his face, asks where he should put down the large box he was carrying. Haywin was curious until Davin explained the box was full of canned food and supplies. She said she couldn't be selfish enough to ask for a favor in these hard times. Without offering something in return, fair is fair, right? While Minyu places the box down, Haywin tries to say they didn't need to do all that. But Davin insists she keep it, saying it'd be strange to use a stranger's bath for free. At that exact moment, Davin spots all the weapons scattered around the room. Surprised, she asks if all those weapons belong to Haywin. Are you a hunter? The question puts Haywin on edge, and she gets awkward. She awkwardly explains that it's complicated, that the weapons belong to someone else. Someone who's kind of like their boss, while Haywin is busy explaining. Jae-hun finishes his spying, and trust me, you're going to want to hear his conclusion. For now, the siblings didn't seem like bad people. Jae-hun figured he'd talk to them face to face. And then make a call, but just then the system lights up, and trust me, you're gonna want to see this. A red tiger has been hunted. A massive wave of experience points floods into Jihan. Plus 4 million won, bringing his total to a whopping 39 million. His stats skyrocketed. He even unlocked a brand new ability. The notifications were just overwhelming. And that's when it hits him. He'd made a huge mistake. He got way too caught up in just watching the siblings, because outside, it was absolute chaos. His entire party, exhausted, bleeding, and barely standing, had just managed to take down a massive, monstrous tiger. Yanju, covered in blood, was unconscious on the ground. Absolute carnage. Now, let's pause here, because this is the moment Jihan realizes he messed up. Just then his domain expands again, sending a sharp, stabbing pain right through his chest. Whoops, I mean his heart. With things this bad, he makes a snap decision. He grants citizenship to everyone on the spot. He'll worry about judging them later. Another notification pops up for Jihan. It seems that when the number of citizens hits a certain threshold, they all unlock a new skill, the power of trust. But Jihan had zero time to celebrate. He was way too worried about their injuries. He definitely didn't plan on them fighting a gigantic tiger out in the jungle. Elsewhere, Byunho is teleporting at max speed, carrying his grandma on his back. He's racing towards the apartment, while the others desperately run right behind him. Daku is carrying the unconscious Yanju. The whole situation is just a complete mess. Jihan couldn't believe how bad her injuries were, and to make things worse, a horde of goblins was still hot on their trail, just when it seemed all hope was lost. Gong's arrow suddenly surges with power. Everyone else in the party feels it too. A rush of strength and speed. Their bodies suddenly feel lighter than air. This was all thanks to the power of trust. And yeah, this is the game changer we've been waiting for. It boosts the stats of his citizens based on how much they trust him. Jihan quickly calculates. The group's overall trust is over 50%, a 50% buff to their combat power. An absolute game changer. Byeonjo, who already worships Jihan like a god, gets the biggest boost of all, screaming the name of the almighty Jihan. He's thanking him for this insane long-distance power-up, and because of this display. Ren and her friend's loyalty finally crosses the 30% mark, making them eligible to become his vassals. Jihan doesn't hesitate for a second. He makes them vassals instantly, and Gong's trust, a perfect 69, nice. With their awakening, both girls unlock some incredible new skills. Piercing arrow for Gaeyoung and poison mist for Ren. Gong fires her bow, shocked by the arrow's power. It feels alive, effortlessly skewering every single goblin, killing them instantly. Jihan then creates a new mission, just for Gong with a specific task in mind. Kill 10 goblins using her new arrow ability, with a skill rank up as the reward. Ren's new ability, however, was way more dangerous. It was a deadly poison mist, a B-rank skill that could easily hit teammates if she wasn't careful. So Jihan decides he'll have to examine Ren's ability himself first. Especially with that 69% trust level, then he'll give her a special mission. But the main problem was still Yanju, and this is where you and I hold our breath, because Jihan is about to go all out. He immediately activates his supreme recluse's omniscient eyes, desperately scanning the building. For any help he can find, after a frantic scan, his eyes lock onto a single, unexpected person. John spots an unconscious girl in her room and immediately starts running towards her. Now was it because she was an 18-year-old girl? Maybe a little, but the real reason, she was a healer. The final missing piece for his dream team. He arrives outside room number 2902. He tries the door, but it's locked from the inside with a heavy iron chain. And even with John's strength, he's not kicking this thing down. But then, a light bulb moment. He remembers a new ability he got. Invisible Hand, a phantom limb he can summon and control. And yeah, his mind immediately goes to how useful that could be for his future wife. Well, John decided it was the perfect time to test this very questionable skill. Closing his eyes, he visualizes cutting the chain, and just like that, a sharp mana scissor forms. Now watch this, he effortlessly snips the iron chain like it was paper. The door swings open, and he rushes towards the unconscious girl. Finally reaching her, his eyes widen in horror. Her situation was not good. Her lips were sunken, she was severely dehydrated and terrifyingly close to death. John frantically tries to wake her, shouting her name and shaking her shoulders, but absolutely nothing works. Her condition was critical. Pale skin, dry, hollowed-out eyes and lips. John had come all this way for a healer, but who was going to heal the healer? He starts to panic. He has no idea what to do, but in that instant, he notices something strange. There was a full water bottle sitting right next to her. For some bizarre reason, she hadn't even touched it, but this was no time for solving mysteries. Saving her was all that mattered, so John's 69 IQ brain goes into overdrive. He creates a mission specifically for her, the objective. Breathe one time, the reward, your complete and total recovery. This insane trick costs him about 10 million, but holy hell, it actually works. She takes a single, weak breath, and her dehydration is instantly cured. An ability that broken. Yeah, you and I are thinking the same thing, totally overpowered. Slowly, the girl begins to wake up. Her vision is blurry as she opens her eyes, seeing John hovering over her. Confused and weak, she quietly asks who he is and how he got in. He tells her his name, explaining he lives in the apartment above. Still confused, she asks again, "But why are you in my room?" John keeps his tone polite, explaining he saw her condition was extremely bad, so he came to help. At first, she's convinced she's just hallucinating. But then reality hits her like a truck. Someone really did come to save her. Overwhelmed, she just starts to cry. She's deeply moved, unable to believe someone rescued her after days of starvation and dehydration. But John, hating the timing, has to interrupt. With a heavy heart, he calls her name and apologizes in advance. He says quietly, "Look, I know this isn't the best moment, but I desperately need your help right now." As she cries tears of joy, John explains that one of his teammates is gravely injured and he needs her healing abilities. But as she listens in silence, her confusion just grows. What on earth was this guy talking about? How could she help anyone when, you and I both know, she was literally about to die just a minute ago? Okay, you and I are dropping into a situation that makes absolutely zero sense. This guy she just met wants her to play doctor for his teammate. And a terrifying question popped into her head: how did this stranger know she was a nurse? Instantly, her mind was screaming danger. But judging by how desperate Jae-hun was, she had a gut feeling he wasn't a threat. Still, according to her own rules in this godforsaken apocalypse, you trust no one, so she made a cautious choice. Pretend to help, and watch his every move to figure out his real plan. Agreeing to his request, she calmly asked where to go and what he needed. Jae-hun just told her to hang on for a second. He was busy with something else. Now watch this, he literally creates a new mission, just for her, to heal the injured Yanju. The time limit was set to 1 hour, and the reward, her healing skill, would level up. After setting up the quest, Jae-hun handed her a little something. Some dried oranges. He told her to eat them and get some rest, promising he would bring his injured friend right to her room. And with that, Jae-hun just turned around and walked out, leaving her completely speechless, staring at the oranges on the floor and a crazy system notification floating in the air. A wave of panic hit her. She screamed Jae-hun's name, asking him what the hell that weird notification was and who he really was. But Jae-hun, cool as ever, flashed a devilish smile and said he would explain everything later. He just casually left the shocked girl on the floor, reminding her that she was too weak right now and needed to rest up. Left all alone, she snatched up the oranges, peeling them like a madwoman with trembling fingers. Her mind was racing. Was she dreaming? That guy literally created a quest out of thin air. Meanwhile, the second Jae-hun got back to his room, a system window popped up. It warned him that Daijang's trust had just increased. Seeing this, he knew his gut feeling was right. The woman didn't trust him one bit. And honestly, it makes perfect sense. I mean, who in their right mind would trust a total stranger who just busted into her room like some kind of apocalyptic Santa Claus? Jae-hun was just waiting for his friends to get back when suddenly, an intense and strange feeling washed over him. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. Without a second thought, he activated his Supreme Recluse's omniscient eyes and immediately saw a red tiger chasing down Yanju and the others. This absolute monster had already wounded Yanju once before, and now it was back. And it was pissed. Turns out, this tiger was actually the wife of the other tiger they killed. And oh yeah, she definitely wanted revenge. Right now, his friends were fighting desperately just to survive. Their faces were masks of pure despair and total panic. Jae-hun's heart dropped. He knew this situation wasn't just bad. You and I are watching a complete nightmare unfold. That monstrous red tiger, with its claws out and ready, looked prepared to tear every single one of them to shreds, no questions asked, zero mercy. An actual seriously angry tiger widow, Jae-hun was completely floored, realizing there was a second red tiger. The group was in no shape for another fight. Their lives were literally hanging by a thread. While running for her life, Ren's foot suddenly slipped. She went down hard, badly injuring her leg. Gwang and Donggen's faces went pale with panic, thinking this was the end. Ren desperately tried to get up. She tries to get up, but her injured leg just won't work. Gong watches, heartbroken. Ren is like her little sister. And now she's helpless as Ren just struggles to move, unable to escape. Trust me, this is where your heart stops. The red tiger opens its jaw wide, wide enough to swallow a car. It's about to devour Ren whole. At that very moment, she accepts her fate. But just as the tiger lunges in for the kill, about to take a bite, Ren just vanishes. Disappears right out of thin air, leaving only a faint purple glow. The tiger freezes, completely stunned. Totally confused, like what just happened. Meanwhile, Ren reappears, terrified and gasping for air, and finds herself sitting right in front of John. She's badly hurt, but she's alive, way too close. If she wasn't one of his vassals, she would be Tiger Chow right now. Luckily, that didn't happen. This surprise teleport just bought them all some precious time, a chance to get away from that furious beast. Just then, Byung-ho teleports right in front of John, carrying his grandma on his back, and tells John a new citizen is here, available for registration. John instantly agrees, granting citizenship to his grandma. But the danger, oh, it's far from over. The red widow tiger is closing in on the group again, even angrier than before. Just then, Jihan gets a brilliant idea, and you're gonna want to see what he cooks up. He decides it's finally time to test the true limits of his invisible hands. As the red widow tiger charges, ready to crush them all, Dongjun realizes something. If anyone's going to survive this, he has to be the sacrifice. Without a second of hesitation, Dongjun heroically stops running. He activates his baseball throw ability, hurling that man-filled baseball at max speed. Straight at the red widow tiger, but it's useless. The tiger dodges it effortlessly, leaping high into the air, ready to tear Dongjun to pieces. Gilong screams desperately in panic, but look at his face. Dongjun has already accepted his fate. He knows he can't outrun the beast for long, but he has to try. Dongjun sprints as fast as he can, drawing all of the tiger's attention to himself. As expected, the monster easily catches up with him. Its sharp teeth just seconds from his throat, but right at that moment, something impossible happens. Suddenly, a huge scissor made of pure aura clamps down hard on the tiger's neck, shocking Dongjun and everyone else. The next second, this mysterious aura hand aggressively grabs the tiger's throat. Mercilessly, it starts suffocating the beast, lifting it clean off the ground, squeezing harder as the tiger desperately struggles to breathe. It thrashes violently, trying to break free, but it's no use. Dongjun just stands there, his eyes wide with disbelief. What in the world just happened? He was absolutely sure he was a dead man, but here he is, miraculously, totally unharmed. Gong and the others rush over, but at that instant, Gong gets an unexpected system notification that terrifies her even more. Meanwhile, the camera pans out, and we can see John calmly watching the entire situation from high above. He mutters that he doesn't even need to hunt monsters himself anymore. Not with this incredible new ability, and what you and I just saw, that changes everything. Get the final blow, Gong would earn 4 times the loot from that tiger. With this massive mission on the line, Gong readies her bow, her eyes laser-focused. Pure determination. As the tiger struggles for its last breath, Gong takes aim and sinks an arrow right into its weak spot, killing it instantly. And just like that, the system window pops up for Jae-hun. Killing a level 28 Red Widow tiger earned him a staggering 63 million in rewards. On top of that, a huge EXP boost, and everyone's trust and loyalty shoots up significantly. Thanks to this boost, Dongjun's loyalty also finally crosses the threshold. Jae-hun can't help but smile. Dongjun is now one of his own precious vassals. The scene shifts, and now we see Dejong healing Yeonju. John watches, completely stunned, as Yeonju's wounds just magically vanish, leaving him totally floored. He immediately turns to Dongjun, demanding to know what happened and how they ran into those terrifying red tigers. Dongjun looks down, his expression heavy, explaining that they found them at Bongho's grandma's house, where the tigers seem to have claimed the whole territory. Guys, I swear, Dongjun insists sadly, those things had to be mutant house cats. That transformed into those monsters. Okay, I know what you're thinking, and John is right there with you, piecing it together. No wonder something felt off before. Come to think of it, there were 0 goblins in that whole area. And now he knew why. It was because of those tigers. If the goblins had been there, Bungo's grandma would have been dead a long, long time ago. So did that mean the tigers were actually protecting her? Could those beasts have been her own pet cats? Putting that insane theory aside for now, Jian finally pays out Gong's 73,000 mission reward. At the same time, Dejong finishes healing Yeonju completely. Just as the healer is about to speak, the chubby guy suddenly steps forward, awkwardly cutting in and asking Jun if he knows it might not be the right time. But do they really have to keep meeting in this tiny, suffocating room? You and I can see he's got a valid point. They can't keep squeezing into this little room forever. But Jun calmly reassures them all, saying he's already thought about that. He has a plan. At these words, everyone's faces instantly light up with relief. Jae-hun confidently explains that room 2901 is completely empty. and he will personally provide electricity and all the basic necessities there. Anyone who wants to move into that room can do so freely. John then turns to Davin with more info. Rooms 21101 and 21102 are also empty. He'll provide electricity there, too, so she can tell the other survivors that they're free to use the showers and bathrooms there. But for some strange reason, the couple just looks sad, and Jae-hun reads the vibe instantly. He knows exactly why they're upset. With a sly grin, Jun calmly says that if they want, the two of them can even have their own private room for their private nights while everyone else shares. But there's a small condition they have to meet first. Upon hearing this, the couple is completely shocked. Trust me, you are going to want to hear this next part. With perfect clarity, the condition they had to meet: simply deliver a message. And the message, simple, direct, and trust me, incredibly tempting. The first person to kill 100 goblins would get an entire empty room, fully equipped. Unlimited electricity, water, food, literally everything needed for a comfortable life. All for just 100 miserable goblins. Sounds easy, right? Almost too easy. The legendary Goblin Slayer himself would probably be pretty proud of Jae-hun right now. He explained his plan coldly, stating their only real task was bringing people in from everywhere, registering them as his citizens, and to make that happen, they just had to go out and kill 100 goblins. At this very moment, Jae-hun was following in Lloyd's footsteps, manipulating everyone with absolute skill. With a twisted smile, Jae-hun finalized the mission: kill goblins, claim your reward. Now let's cut away and see how this hunt is actually playing out on the ground. We see a guy in a red jacket, chased by goblins, desperately fighting to escape. He was just about to be caught when, by a miracle, he escapes towards an open door. Sliding across the floor, he barely manages to save his own life in the process. The goblins give chase, but they can barely fit through the narrow doorway. And patiently waiting right behind that door, his teammates, weapons at the ready. It turns out the poor guy in the red jacket was just being used as live bait. Because of this dirty trick, the group wiped out the goblins with almost no effort. The entire fight turned into a cruel and completely one-sided massacre. And the leader of this crew, this total clown who we'll just call Dumbass, threw his spear and killed the last goblin just to show off for his team. But the guy in the red jacket wasn't happy about it, not one bit. After all, he was the only one constantly risking his life while they got easy kills. Frustrated, he complained about how unfair it was to always be used as bait. Hearing this, Dumbass got furious and coldly told the red jacket guy that he was nothing but a pathetic loser, and yeah, we all know what comes next. He claims that without him, Red Jacket would have suffered a dog's death by now. Dumbass even orders him to act like a loyal dog, or he'll become goblin food. The situation got tense fast, leaving the guy in the red jacket with no options. His only choice was to back down and apologize for speaking up. The scene shifts again, and Dumbass, confident he's killed 100 goblins, goes to claim the reward, but a bitter surprise was waiting for him. Dabin had already given that reward to the very first team that finished. And here's the twist: it turns out Dabin's own brother was the first to finish the challenge. But he gave the promised room to an elderly couple instead of keeping it. Dumbass did not like this one bit. Visibly furious, he immediately starts to complain loudly, whining about how unfair the whole situation was for him. Dabin's brother then calmly explained that Jae-hun had a special arrangement. A new plan specifically for Dumbass's team. They were told to go to the 30th floor. That's where their reward was waiting, and though Dumbass was pissed, he had no choice. Reluctantly, he starts making his way toward the 30th floor. On the way there, Dumbass wears this disgusting, mocking smile, wondering why Dabin respects Jae-hun so much. It was hilarious. Did she really think he was some kind of god? He just keeps on openly mocking Jae-hun, sarcastically referring to him as just a ridiculous cult leader. But the guy in the red jacket, Shung Min, speaks up. And you and I need to hear what he says. He argues that since John is genuinely protecting them, they shouldn't speak badly of him, especially when everyone wants to stay on his good side. The other guy stares at him, ice in his veins, clearly hating that statement. With one chilling look, he makes it clear this conversation is far from over. The elevator doors slide open on the 30th floor. The first guy, still seething, coldly tells Shung Min they'll finish their chat later. But as they step out, "Oh, you and I knew this was coming," Jun is waiting. His chilling aura fills the air, one hand casually in his pocket. The entire team just freezes, completely stunned by Jae-hun's intimidating presence. The loudmouth quickly tries to recover, politely introducing himself to break the insane tension in the air. But Jae-hun just gives his hand a casual shake, calmly complimenting their unique use of the barrier and clever hunting strategies. The guy stands there, totally shocked, and nervously asks how Jihan could possibly know their tactics. Jae-hun doesn't even bother to answer. Instead, he cuts right to the chase. He coldly informs them that electricity, water, and gas will now be supplied to apartments 1301 and 1502. The doubter cautiously asks how that's even possible. John calmly replies it's because they successfully killed 100 goblins. They earned it. Then, without a single pause, a deeply unsettling smile slowly spreads across John's face. And here it is, the moment that stops his heart. Jun calls him out. He brings up that little comment about him being a cult leader. John coldly states he has absolutely no interest in being treated like a god, or in playing such a ridiculous role. The entire group stands there speechless, absolutely terrified and confused. How on earth did Jae-hun hear what was said inside the elevator? Are there security cameras literally everywhere? Jae-hun, with a genuinely psychotic smile, smoothly changes the subject, saying he has a small favor to ask. You and I are about to see what his favors look like. The scene cuts, revealing exactly what John asked of them. It's a death run. The group sprints for their lives, chased by massive, terrifying orcs. Every monstrous step shakes the ground beneath their feet. The guy, gasping for air, is terrified out of his mind. They take a sharp turn, running straight into a narrow alley, just as they were told. At the end of the alley waits Dongjian, gripping his spear tightly. Because the alley is so narrow, the orcs get jammed for a moment. Dongjian's throwing ability has hit rank B, meaning he can throw bigger objects for 5 times the damage. With all his might, he hurls the spear, sending it flying hard and fast, taking down the first orc. The second orc roars, swinging its massive club. But before it can crush Dongjian, a deadly arrow slams into its forehead, killing it instantly, a perfect shot from Gaeyang. The last orc barely has time to react before Dongjian finishes it with another powerful spear throw. And just like that, the group has successfully completed the mission to kill 100 orcs. Giant immediately gets 3.2 million. Nearby, a terrified family of 3 stood frozen in horror, forced to witness the entire massacre. Dongjian just gives them a gentle smile, carefully leading them toward John's base. And as they get closer, watch this, John gets a system alert. It says an unknown object is attempting to enter, and then another notification pops up right after. This one indicating someone eligible for citizenship has arrived. The system immediately asks if John wants to grant citizenship to these 3 new people. After a moment's thought, he agrees. With that single decision, the total number of citizens rises to 200, activating a new ability, tax collection. This skill lets John collect 10% of his citizens' money without affecting their real wealth. Even with a 30-day cooldown, John instantly understands this new ability's potential. Realizing that he can now get back all the funds he had already distributed, but recovering the full amount would take about 10 months. With his parents needing to be saved urgently, John decides right then and there that Dongjian's team is heading straight to the Namban neighborhood. To speed things up, John decides to distribute 30% of the funds in advance. He sees it as a necessary investment when suddenly another notification appears. Now pay attention, because his house declaration skill just reached level 10, granting him 3 more skill points. And once again, John feels an intense pain, his liver. Kidneys and heart ache horribly as his entire domain expands dramatically. We're talking almost double in size, covering nearly every single building nearby. The system confirms that John successfully declared the entire building as his home. Immediately after, another message pops up stating that 1 billion won has been deposited as subsidies, and a new construction function is unlocked. Jihan's eyes scan the options carefully. A solar generator for 133 million, a store for 219 million, and a gym for 300 million. So John received a subsidy of 1 billion won. But the annual income from the generator was only 30 million won a year. That meant it would take at least 5 full years to make his money back. John just stood there confused. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. What kind of terrible business is this? He figures it's probably way smarter not to waste this huge amount of cash on some questionable construction, planning instead to level up his vassals. But then, to his total shock, John realizes something crucial. When he tried to use this newly deposited subsidy money, that 1 billion won, to level up Dongjian, the system rejected him instantly. John quickly realizes that the funds he had just received were fundamentally different from the money stored in his wallet. This changes absolutely everything. Now Jihan has this basically free pile of cash to be used only for construction purposes. Without a moment's hesitation, Jihan quickly buys the solar generator. A 24-hour countdown begins, and his subsidy balance drops to 867 million won. Briefly tempted, John thinks about installing a second solar generator, but is quickly hit with a serious system notification. It warns him only 1 generator can be installed per apartment building. Accepting that frustrating rule, John shifts his focus to installing the store. The system explains that the store is linked directly to his supreme recluse skill. Anything in his inventory can be sold directly to his citizens, which he instantly realizes will change the entire game. To simplify supply distribution, without a second thought, he set up the store in apartment 101, giving it a 48-hour countdown to launch. Next, he analyzed the gym, which could boost citizens' strength and exercise efficiency by 200%. Imagining the insane progress, Jay dedicated the entire second floor to the gym, starting a 72-hour countdown. The system then informed him he had 3 skill points. Jay just smiled, realizing he'd just unlocked the ultimate infinite money and XP glitch. And here's the genius part. People would grind monsters to buy supplies, and he'd earn XP and cash for doing nothing. Now that's what I call passive income. Meanwhile, Daku, clad in his armor, slices an orc clean in half. Dongjun asks Daku what would happen if he just threw his spear. Confused, Daku hands over the weapon, and Dongjun hurls it with ridiculous force. In a panic, Deoksu is told to cancel the armor and resummon it. The spear magically reappears right back in his hand. They were both stunned. Dongjun had just found an infinite spear glitch. Deoksu couldn't stop praising Dongjun's big brain moment. Elsewhere, Gong was about to fire her very last arrow when suddenly, a fresh quiver appears right in front of her. At this point, you and I are basically watching Jay play God in real time. Gong was in total shock. The system revealed a new skill, Omnifocus, which lets his allies use skills freely inside his domain. With her arrows reloaded, she easily takes down another orc. The system registers the kill, and Jay instantly receives over 213,000 experience. The mission was complete, and Gong leveled up. Jay realized he could directly improve his vassal stats, which filled him with a sudden hope to save his parents. Their house was 10 kilometers away. Determined, Jay headed to the rooftop, a sense of urgency washing over him, his focus now leveling up Dongjun's crew. He checked Kim Jaeon's status, level 22. With a crow familiar skill, perfect for recon, then he reviewed Yanju's profile, level 33, with the powerful warrior bear skill. Finally, he looked at Kim Dong, level 30, who had healing, blessing, and magic armor skills. Jay thought about his team composition. Yanju and Kim Dajung were solid picks, but Yanju's low loyalty rating made him hesitate for a moment. Then he had an idea. What if he brought Yanju's son back? He tried the resurrection skill, but the system said he was broke. He decided to wait and instead created a group mission: hunt a level 40 or higher monster in 24 hours. The reward: Yanju's son's resurrection. But here's the catch you and I both saw coming: failure meant death. He selected yes, and the mission activated. Suddenly, a knock at the door. It was Yanju, completely out of breath. She ran the second she saw the mission pop up. Jay told her it was possible, but the clock was ticking. Yanju collapsed to the floor, sobbing and thanking him. The system pinged, her loyalty shot past 30. She could now officially become a vassal. Later, Jay was at the sink, watching the faucet turn on all by itself. He was getting used to controlling things with just his mind. Yeah, our boy is becoming Magneto. He now had total control over electricity, water, and gas in his domain. Today's store profit of over 32,000 was added to his wallet. He smiled, knowing the store had already sold over 1.5 million worth of goods. Jay checked on the people in the store. A feeling of absolute control. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a boy asks his friend about their savings. His friend sighs. The bow costs 150,000 and they only have 10,000. It would take 2 weeks to save up. The boy just laughed, reminding him they still needed to eat. His friend got frustrated, and Jay realized how much everything had changed. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Ever since the store appeared, people would hunt for a single coin. Stick with me, because things are about to escalate fast. The system showed the current population, just 789 out of 11,000. John knew. That number was about to explode. Just then, he got another message. He'd taken down a level 18 orc, earning a cool 1.2 million. Elsewhere, Yanju was a whirlwind of claws and fury in her warrior bear form, tearing through goblins and orcs. She apologized for hogging all the monsters, but Gaeyoung just smiled and said it was no problem. John thought to himself that putting those two together was a genius move. He pulled up Yanju's new status, level 40 with the title 9th Bell, her trust. And loyalty had jumped to 66, but that rank Berserk skill was completely broken. The moment she sees blood, her strength rockets up by 300%, as he thought about her power. A sickening crack echoed out. Now watch closely. The three women saw a colossal orc emerge from the darkness. Yanju instantly went into her beast form. The fierce, unstoppable mother bear roared and charged the orc head-on. The battle began, and for a moment, they seemed like an even match. Gong fired an arrow, but the orc blocked it with its axe. This just made Yanju angrier, and the angrier she got, the stronger she became. She suddenly doubled in size and lunged. The orc lord was screwed, with zero time to react. Yanju slammed into him, and the system immediately lit up with a victory notification. She defeated a level 28 orc lord, scoring a massive 73,000 reward. Then another message popped up, warning that she'd just unlocked an outpost. But it needed a knight to stay there for 7 days, and the price was 1.3 billion. Jihan thought it was way too expensive, and the time commitment was too long. He decided against building it. He knew the outpost would be a huge help to the family, but it wouldn't be easy to move his grandparents. He could only pray that they were still alive. Fueled by this determination, Jay decided he would send Dong Jun's group straight to the main house the very next day. Meanwhile, back at the subway, Kim Jan was watching the battle in total shock. He saw Yanju tear orcs to pieces even as they begged for mercy. Kim Jan couldn't help but wonder how on earth John recruited someone that powerful. He noticed Yanju was now focusing all her rage on the goblins. The system pinged with a new mission. Return in 1 hour. Kim Jan knew that even a simple task like that could go horribly wrong. Dongjun's group showed up, telling Kim Jan it was time to head back. Kim Jan sent his familiar, Kami the Crow, to fly ahead and scout the path. Through the crow's vision, he confirmed the way was clear, and the group started moving. Then Kim Jan spotted a rat for a split second before it vanished. He ignored it, but something felt off. Heading up the stairs, he glanced back and saw two small red lights glowing in the shadows. And yeah, that's never a good sign. It was the same rat, now speeding right for them, a clear signal of danger. The scene shifts to John, bowing deeply to Dongjun's group, desperately hoping they'll agree to help him. Dongjun asked if Jayan's family was even still alive in the building. John had to admit he didn't know. He just needed their help to find out what happened. Before anyone could answer, Young-ho jumped forward. He declared he would do anything his god, John, commanded him to do. The rest of the group voiced their own gratitude to Jae-hun. They all promised they would help. Jae-han thanked everyone and explained the new plan. They were heading to Somyeon Station. He recommended they all get some rest. However, Yanju asked a critical question. Why couldn't John just use his powers to teleport his family out of there? John fell into a painful silence. He remembered that he'd tried this again and again, but it never worked. He can only teleport people within his domain. He had to admit he couldn't do it. You and I just witnessed a devastating moment for him. He might have lost everything, but he swore to keep the promise he made to her. And just like that, the system alerts him that Yeonju's trust level has just increased. With a genuine smile, she thanks him. Jayan nods back, telling everyone to get some rest. One by one, they all leave. As things quiet down, Jayan gets another notification. Okay, stick with me here. An unauthorized entity is trying to break in. He grants citizenship and then Yejin's profile pops up, level 31 with a trust level of absolute 0. Her skill, Rat Queen. Jayan is completely baffled. Did they seriously just recruit a woman who can turn into a rat? Suddenly, we flash back to when Yejin first discovered Jayan's group in the subway. They were busy slaughtering orcs. Intrigued, she decided to follow them all the way to Jayan's complex. Children were playing outside and the whole place was bustling with life. Yejin, in her rat form, was stunned. She made a dash for an apartment, but slammed right into a blue shield. The system interface asked if she wanted to become a citizen. The little rat squeaked, but nothing happened. She was getting desperate, right until the interface updated and granted it. Citizenship confirmed. The rat darts into the building, and that's when all hell breaks loose. People screamed when they saw the rat, trying to crush it. Yejin had to flee for her life. She accidentally entered the training room, where she just saw people lifting weights. She was confused. What kind of muscle-worshipping cult had she stumbled into? At that moment, Yejin wakes up from her rat form with a splitting headache. She starts laughing. She's euphoric, having found a survivor camp, but then her joy vanishes. She remembers. She remembers the monstrous creature that guards the station she would have to cross. Just to get to Jayan's building, then the scene shifts and we see that Jayan had hunted that rat. Because of that, Yejin's connection with his domain had been disconnected. Another window appears. It's about the Rat Queen A-rank and her ability. It allows every rat to follow her command, acting as a part of her body. Jayan's face gets serious. He finally understands that the rat was controlled by an A-rank awakened. He uses his Supreme Recluse's eyes to look for her, but he comes up empty. In that instant, an idea hits Jayan. He creates a simple quest. The Rat Queen must come to the apartment. The deadline is 48 hours. The reward, a Coke in a Choco bar. While checking the quest, Jayan remembers something. He can't bring his parents here. Because they're outside the domain, Yejin is also outside, but she's a citizen. So he decides to run a little test. Anyone who becomes a citizen is under his control. He changes the quest. The time limit is now only 10 seconds. And the punishment for failure is forced summoning. The system approves it, which means if she fails, she gets teleported here against her will. His eyes go wide. Trust me, this moment could change everything. His heart is racing. He just hopes it won't cost him. More than 1,000,000,000. The countdown begins. When it finishes, the system shows the result. CEO Yejin failed the quest. and the cost was only 31 million won. Jian lets out a huge sigh of relief, on the other hand, surprised and panicked. Yejin suddenly materializes inside the apartment. She has no idea what just happened. Jian calls her by name, revealing he already knows exactly who she is. Yejin asks who he is and how he knows her name, but Jian remains perfectly calm. He tells her, "I'm the one who gave you citizenship. I brought you here." He introduces himself and tries to reassure her. To make her feel more welcome, Jian offers her a Coke and a Choco bar. Seo Yejin takes the snack, trying to make sense of everything. She asks if all of this was his doing and he agrees. She's completely stunned, asking, "Who? Who is this guy? A god?" You can feel her desperation as she begs Jihan to save her 35 people. But Jihan shuts her down, saying it's completely impossible. Hearing this, she breaks down, pleading with him to at least save her family. That's when something clicks for Jihan. Seo Yejin never actually spoke to him. And yet, he gave her citizenship. This meant the rat spirit was an extension of her. He wondered if he could use that very connection to bring her family over. In that instant, the system interface pops up, showing Yejin's profile. Her stats level 31 with 37 trust, her unique ability, Rat Queen. Jihan notices her trust has already gone up. He turns to her with a question. Would she do anything to protect her family? She fires back a confident yes. Jihan explains there's only one way to save them, but it needs her total trust. She declares her complete trust, and right here is where the game totally changes. A system alert appears. Her trust jumps to 50 and her loyalty hits 33. She now meets the conditions to be a vassal. Jihan activates the registration process. A blue aura envelops Yejin, who watches herself in complete surprise. When it's finished, her stats are drastically different. She now has the title of 10th seed. Knight and Tamer, her trust climbs to 52, while loyalty holds at 33. New information reveals that a tamed creature's stats grow based on its loyalty and trust. Jihan saw that Yejin's evolution class was A+, meaning her rats will keep leveling up. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if one day her rats sprout muscles and start walking. Jihan asks Yejin if any of her rats are currently near her family. She hesitates for a moment, but he insists that she send one right away. Yejin follows his command. At the same time, Jihan activates the Supreme Recluse's eyes. He shares the rat's vision with her. The little creature sprints towards Yejin's family. The moment it arrives, food and drinks materialize right in front of them. Jihan gets another notification. Seo Yejin's trust level has shot up again. He realized her ability, and his eyes have created a perfect, broken synergy. He had just unlocked the ultimate reconnaissance ability. Yejin asks if he's thinking of the Namban neighborhood. Jihan confirms. Her eyes light up. She knows that place well. She can send a rat to safely scout the entire area without any risk. Using the rats, Jihan could confirm if his own family was alive without endangering the team. Yejin assures Jihan she will take care of it, and her system trust and loyalty increase again. Jihan urges her to leave immediately, suggesting she use the subway tracks. But Yejin is terrified, screaming that going there would be absolute suicide. She says a horrible monster lurks down at Somian Station. Jihan is now intrigued. He presses her for more details. She describes a monstrous and cruel creature. Determined, Jihan gives a new order: send a rat to go check out the monster. She agrees. The scene snaps to the rat, running frantically into the subway station. You can see the pure terror on its face. A strange sound echoes, then it sees it, a giant snake. The monster is casually chewing on an orc lord's head. With a single gulp, the snake swallows it. The entire orc gone. The rat literally pees itself in fear. Then the snake notices it. It lunges forward. Miraculously, the rat dodges and flees. Jihan watched the whole thing. He realized the snake was way stronger than he expected, likely above level 40. Damn, he thought, that terrifying beast looked like one of Sasuke's summons from Naruto. Yejin observes his reaction, and trust me, you and I can both guess what's about to happen. Yajin warns him Somian Station is a death trap, suggesting they find a safer, longer route. But Jae-hun isn't worried. He tells her his team is strong enough. Jae-hun then thanks Yajin for the intel, admitting her warning saved them from big trouble. As a reward, he tells Yajin she can have apartment 2701 as long as she cleans it up. Gratefully, Yajin accepts and heads on her way. The second she's gone, Jae-hun cracks a smile. In the past, he would have had to run from a monster like that. But now, with Yajin's intel, everything has changed. See, Jae-hun has a plan, and it's a nasty one. He immediately tells the system to install a solar generator. He watches the panels go up, but quickly realizes it's not enough for nearly 800 survivors. To make life better here, they're gonna need more cash and more manpower. He quickly drafts up a new strategy, a 3-shift system for maintenance and resource gathering. And at the end of the day, Jae-hun knows more aggressive hunting is the only real answer. Now, while he's planning, another team is fighting for their lives. Elsewhere, Dongjian's crew is running from a swarm of bat-like creatures. Gaeyoung and her archers let loose a volley of arrows, taking them down with practiced ease. She quickly checks if anyone's hurt. Seeing her team is safe, she breathes a sigh of relief. But her sister reminds her about the giant snake monster said to be at Somian Station. Gaeyoung just scoffs, saying Jae-hun can just summon them back if things get bad. With their confidence restored, the group pushes forward, only to find a wrecked train. It's surrounded by the mangled bodies of orc leaders. Everyone freezes, absolutely horrified. The rookie of the group immediately vomits, and then a chilling sound gets closer. They look up and see it, a monstrous snake bigger than a building. Daku screams in pure terror. But in a flash, Dongjian grabs Gaeyoung and yells for everyone to get down. The snake unleashes a deafening roar, sending out a shockwave that blasts the whole team back. The force is immense. The men shield the women, but the sonic blast is pure agony. Everyone's head feels like it's about to split open from the sheer pain. And right then, the system pops up with a new quest: kill the snake. Dongjian feels a wave of terror, but then he notices something odd. The giant snake is moving slowly. This is their chance. Dongjian locks eyes with Yeonju, and without a second thought, hurls his spear. Now hold on, you and I need to see how they even got this opening in the first place. Rewind a few minutes. Jae-hun already knew this giant snake devours its prey alive. He figured out it doesn't even bother with small fries, it just swallows them whole. And using that intel, Jae-hun cooked up a truly diabolical plan. He had Yajin send her tiny little rat scurrying right up the giant snake's nostril. And yep, she did it. The rat shot straight inside the monster's body. This is where Jae-hun's master plan kicks in. With a smirk, he opens his inventory. From inside the rat, he releases a cloud of deadly poison gas, but he's not done. Next, he pours gasoline all over the snake's stomach from the inside and lights it up. In an instant, the snake's insides erupt in a massive explosion of fire. The blast is so intense it even shakes Yajin. Jae-hun quickly checks on her. She gives him a thumbs up, telling him she's okay. He praises her for her courage and turns back. He watches the chaos, deciding not to kill the snake himself. Instead, his knights, Dongjun and Yeonju, will deliver the killing blow. That way, he gets 6 times the experience and rewards. Total genius move. Back in the present, Dongjun and his team realize the shockwave wasn't from the snake's roar at all. From the explosion Jae-hun created. Seizing the moment, Dongjian threw the spear with every ounce of his strength, killing the snake instantly. And just like that, the system drops a massive 1.8 billion experience points on Jae-hun. Since they defeated the boss of Siami Station, John could now build an outpost right there. Dongjun and Yeonju's abilities leveled up, and the domain itself rose to level 15. As a bonus, Jae-hun snagged 3 extra skill points. Then a new notification pops up: more people qualified for citizenship have been found. Around 200 of them. Jae-hun grants them citizenship on the spot. The system immediately updates, announcing that the total number of citizens had officially hit 1,000. And because of this milestone, everyone got a new ability called Baseline, giving John a 100% share of all XP and money from every single citizen. John's eyes widened. This felt less like a skill and more like a straight-up cheat code. Just then, Ijin approaches him and asks if Jihan could possibly bring her family into his domain. Jae-hun pauses for a moment, then smiles and agrees. Overjoyed, Yajun thanks him profusely. Jae-hun then asks if she can control the rats again. Ijin nods, confirming she can. The scene cuts to one of Yajun's rats, scampering to a new location before bumping right into Dong Jaeun's group. What they found was an absolute massacre, hundreds of dead orcs half-eaten. Ijun's rat scurries forward, trying to signal the group to follow it. Deoksu is completely stunned, wondering if this is yet another one of Jaeun's insane abilities. Intrigued, the group decides to follow the rat. You and I both know this is leading somewhere interesting. Jaehan deactivates his Supreme Recluse's eyes and heads back to his room. Now, it was time for his own growth. He had 3 skill points, burning a hole in his pocket. With the territory expanding, he decided the smartest move was to power up his Omniscient Eyes ability. This skill would pair perfectly with Yajin's rat scouting, making their teamwork unstoppable. The moment he upgrades it, a sharp pain shoots through Jae's head. Elsewhere, Dongin's group suddenly runs into a horde of goblins. Jihan can now see their exact levels and stats. They were level 8, moving in organized packs and wielding spears and clubs. They were fast, and their eyes were perfectly adapted to the dark tunnels. Seeing this, John realized just how valuable this vision could be for scouting and sheer survival. He starts thinking about hunting goblins just to acquire that night vision ability for himself. He also remembered his other goal, lowering the insane resurrection cost. To do that, he decided to start assigning more quests to his people, let them fight and grow, saving his own resources and making the whole domain more efficient. Next, Jae-hun puts his focus on another skill, dignity maintenance. As his population grew, keeping everyone's trust and loyalty was becoming more critical than ever. He uses a skill point to upgrade it. The second he does, a loud, sudden gunshot shatters the silence. John's eyes snap toward the noise, his expression hardening. He knew that shot didn't come from the building, it came from underground. The scene shifts, revealing something that makes no sense. Goblins, casually holding guns, wearing jackets and pants. Wait, what? As the goblins open fire, Dongjian signals for everyone to hit the deck. Bullets whizzed past their heads, and they knew they stood zero chance in a straight-up firefight. Dongjian was baffled, wondering where the hell these goblins got firearms, but he didn't have to worry for long. Byung-ho teleports behind the goblins. With deadly precision, he pierces their chests, weaving through a hail of bullets as he cuts them down. Another goblin takes aim with its pistol, but then an arrow its hand. At the same time, Gaeyoung and Daku charge in to join the brawl. Yanju shifts into her beast form, and together, they absolutely shred every last goblin. Meanwhile, a system message pops up on John's screen, notifying him of a new item in the store. Guns with unlimited ammo, and you and I both know this changes everything. But John instantly sees the massive problem. He can't just sell these to anyone. If ordinary people see guns for sale, their hunger for monster hunting will skyrocket. But he knows not everyone is cut out for this. Until now, he'd accepted everyone as a citizen, assuming he could manage the odd troublemaker. But this. Introducing guns is a whole other level of dangerous. It's instant deadly power. If the wrong person gets their hands on this, chaos is guaranteed. Envy, resentment, jealousy, all those normal human feelings could suddenly turn lethal. Because of these risks, Jae-hun decides only the most trustworthy people with high loyalty will even be allowed to use guns. And he knows exactly who should be the first. Back in the dungeon, Dong Jaeun's group has finished off all the goblins. Then, to Bungo's complete shock, a mysterious box containing a handgun appears right in front of him. With total reverence, Byung-ho picks it up, silently thanking his god, John. At this point, Bungo's devotion is so high he'd probably marry the guy. Donion's group keeps moving, with Yejun's rat scouting ahead. They soon reach another door. Donjian pushes it open, and inside, they find a group of terrified people. Elsewhere, John is taking a calm walk outside with Yejin, just trying to enjoy a rare moment of peace. Suddenly, a new alert warns him that an unknown entity is attempting to enter his territory. Shortly after, another notification appears, saying someone qualified for citizenship is nearby. The system asks if he wants to approve. Without a second thought, John grants citizenship. It's her sister, Dabin, who teases her for smelling so good, asking if she took a shower. Yejin just laughs, happily telling her they have hot water now. From a distance, John watches their emotional reunion. After a moment, he calls out to Yejin, "Apartment 2701 is yours. But it might get crowded if you want to fit more than 30 people in there." Seeing her worried face, Jae-hun says he'll give her 3 more rooms because she's more than earned it. Overjoyed, Yejin thanks him, promising to work tirelessly. Jae-hun gets another ping. Yejin's trust and loyalty levels have just increased. Hongdal-rae, Leung-jun, and Han Young-soo's stats have all improved as well. Looking at the interface, Jae-hun remembers he'd leveled up before but forgot to check the rewards. He scrolls through and spots a new feature. The Guardian Beast Management System. He taps on it and nearly faints. The cost to unlock it is 100,011 points. As he processes the insane cost, a quiet voice interrupts him, asking if he has a moment to talk. John invites her to come in. It's Hyerin, the youngest of Dongjon's party, and she looks incredibly nervous. She says she has something really important to discuss. John calmly invites her to sit down. Hyerin apologizes, her voice trembling, and asks to leave the group. She feels completely useless, thinking no one would even notice if she just vanished. Jae-hun encourages her to go on, and she breaks down in tears, confessing that the monsters are just too terrifying, and she feels worthless because she can't use her poison mist near allies. Jun had been expecting this conversation. He understood that her poison mist was dangerous if used incorrectly, and trust me, what he tells her next proves what kind of leader he's becoming. Model perfect. He needed someone trustworthy to help him out. And Doing cared for the injured, but was totally exhausted and needed a hand. Jae-hun told her he needed someone honest and kind, and she was the perfect fit. He reminded her that no one is useless as long as they keep on trying. He said that her poison mist was a unique power that would one day shine. If she couldn't fight on the outside, she could be a pillar on the inside. Then Jae-hun bowed deeply. Hyerin was shocked, touched, and a smile broke through. The system showed her loyalty shot straight to 100. Wiping away tears, she promised to do her very best. Jae-hun just smiled, promising he'd be counting on her. A few moments later, John decided it was time to unlock that new feature, and this is where things get interesting. An interface popped up, requiring over 1,000 points. He decided it was worth the price and hit yes. A golden magic circle flared to life, and in its center, a glowing crystal egg began to crack. A blinding light forced him to shut his eyes tight. When it faded, he saw a small, adorable black bird. He activated his special eyes and saw it, a 3-legged divine raven, level 1. It held the sun's energy but was just a baby, needing protection and sunlight to grow. John named him Little Blackie. The bird flapped its wings excitedly but kept stumbling, and John realized it was starving. He tossed it a bag of chips, which the little guy happily devoured. Afterward, Blackie fell asleep like a lazy cat, and at that exact moment, Jae-hun got an alert. Blackie leveled up, and the solar generator's efficiency just jumped by 100%. Jae-hun remembered that each generator produced about 80 to 100,000 a day. Now with Blackie's buff, his annual income skyrocketed to 90 million. So he decided to install solar generators in all 10 of the new buildings. The 24-hour countdown began. Satisfied with his work, John headed to apartment 3001. As soon as Fatty opened the door, John greeted him and said he wanted to entrust him with managing his money. Fatty just froze. Quick flashback. John thought about his tax collection ability. If he gave his money to someone, he'd profit because the ability generates 10% a month. He chose Fatty because his trust and loyalty were already sky-high. Back in the present, Fatty was completely stunned. Choi Hyung-jun, the Fatty, had a trust of 89 and a loyalty of 98. His power, gorilla strength, Jaehyun felt good about this. Okay, I know what you're thinking, and yes, this is a total big brain move. Without another word, Jaehyun transferred 1 billion straight to Fatty's wallet. The system confirmed it. The quest cost him 100,030,000, including the fee, but it was worth it. Fatty's trust immediately shot up, and his loyalty hit 100. Since Fatty was now a vassal, the maximum number of vassals Jae-hun could have also increased. Fatty asked if he should just hold on to the money without touching it. But Jae-hun, seeing that perfect loyalty score, told him he could use a little if he ever needed it. Overjoyed, Fatty thanked him. Shortly after, Dabin showed up and asked Jae-hun if she could pick anyone she wanted for her new team. Jae-hyun agreed and even told her she could include Yuyeon. Since Dabin was stepping up as team leader, he decided she'd get double pay. The news made Dabin ecstatic, and her loyalty instantly maxed out. She thanked him and ran off to find Yuhyun. Once everyone was gone, John took a long, deep breath. But now, it was time for a conversation he couldn't put off any longer. His mind made up, he walked to apartment 21,109, where Hadong's group was staying. Upon arriving, John gathered the team to explain the dangerous situation at Somian Station, where an incredibly powerful monster was waiting for them, but for the moment, the area was deceptively safe. No monsters on the streets or on the subway tracks near Somian Station. Between Bayam Nyal and Bayam Il, the monster population was low, an opportunity Jihan knew they had to seize. As he briefed the team, you can almost see the weight settle on him as he remembers Yui Rin's outburst. It was a stark reminder that these people were risking their lives for him. A heavy burden for anyone to carry. Thanks to Yajin, they'd spotted the threat at Somian Station way ahead of schedule. If they'd found it any later, the situation would have been a massacre. Finding it early gave them a huge edge. Jihan understood the brutal reality of this world. It was cruel, and anyone could die. He just wanted to protect the people he cared about. With that resolve, he told the group their next target. Jagali Station, first thing in the morning. Later in his room, the system screen lights up. The solar generator's output has just increased by 100%. Not only that, Blackie leveled up again, unlocking the power of the sun and elemental magic. And as Blackie's owner, Jihan inherits that power, elemental magic. Oh yeah, you and I both know that's a total game changer. Curious, he lifts a finger. A small flame ignites, the sensation both strange and familiar. Later in a secluded area, he pictures a gigantic fireball. He extends his hand, focuses his energy, but only a tiny flame flickers to life. Jihan is disappointed for a second, but then an idea hits. He remembers that special gas his ability creates. What if he combined that gas with this new flame? The results could be explosive. Right now, it's just a baby flame. But one day, it could become a terrifying inferno, a true monster-tier ability. Feeling the hype, Jihan ends the test and heads back. While grabbing a bite, another notification appears, letting him know 2 more solar generators have been constructed. Jihan can't help but smile, thinking of Blackie's 3 recent level-ups. Thanks to her buffs, his generators are now 8 times more powerful. And the surplus energy gets converted straight into cash. More power means more freedom. Things were finally looking up. While he was eating, Yajin comes in and thanks him. But Jihan just reassures her, saying she more than deserved the rest. Her abilities are top class after all. He gets right to it, he's going to need her help again. Dongjun's group is waiting at Xiamen Station, and he wants her to guide them through. Yajin agrees, reporting that her rats are already scouting the subway tunnels. She tells him they can get to Cheong Station without any issues. But Jihan asks what happens after that. Yajin's face turns serious. She warns him the real danger starts at Busausen Station and suggests he should see it for himself. Without another word, she sits and activates her power. Jihan activates his eyes of the absolute, connecting to the rat's vision, and trust me, nothing could prepare him for what he was about to see. The path ahead was a complete disaster zone. Piles of rubble blocked everything, and the tracks were totally flooded. It was impossible to pass. Yajin explains that one of her rats pushed forward, only to find total destruction. Not a single building left standing. What could have caused this? Were his parents okay? As he shares the vision, Jihan spots something horrifying. His eyes widen in shock. We're looking at a colossal footprint, big enough to bring down entire buildings. It all clicks. This was no earthquake. Something absolutely massive passed through here. Is that you, colossal titan? Is Iren somewhere nearby? And then a loud, deafening roar. A sound echoed. The walls trembled, each step feeling heavier than the last. John couldn't help but wonder if the monster was getting closer. The shaking continued, and he started to fear the entire house might just collapse. Another quake rocked the building, and he quickly checked on Yajin. She said she was fine, but had no idea what was causing all of this. Suddenly, an urgent voice called out from the elevator. It was Jae Hyun. He and Yajin rushed out to find Fatty in a full-blown panic. Jae Hyun demanded to know what was happening. But Fatty just frantically waved for them to follow him. Jae Hyun, Yajin, and the others ran after him, a horrible feeling growing in their stomachs. Inside Fatty's room, they saw it. A 60-meter titan, tearing down buildings like they were made of paper, a giant cyclops. With a single, burning red eye, Jae Hyun muttered that his gut feelings were never wrong. He watched helplessly as the cyclops just continued its path of destruction. Fatty and the others were losing their minds. Even Jae Hyun felt a cold, real fear. Could he actually fight a titan? Could he protect anyone? He was on the verge of breaking down when Yanju stepped forward, pure resolve on her face. She was going to fight to avenge her son. Jae Hyun saw it. The focus, the sheer determination in her eyes, he believed in her. And just then the system interface popped up, announcing a new quest. And trust me, this is where it all changes. The mission, defeat the Cyclops in 24 hours. The reward, 1 day of resurrection for Yanju's son. The punishment for failure, a full day of unbearable pain. Wasting no time, Jae Hyun started barking orders. Team 1, Yanju, Donggan, Daijong, and Deoksu. Team 2, Gaeyoung, Byungho, and Kim Jae-yan. And Team 3 would be Jae Hyun and Yajin. He would guard the area while the others moved into position. He looked at them all, telling them he was counting on their strength. Everyone immediately followed his orders. A moment later, Hyren ran up with a warning. The residents with military training were gathered at the gate.